So, we pick up the day after. It's a little bit of like a cold morning. It's not like chilly by any means. You do start to feel the sun coming up over the horizon. Raiden, you being kind of an early riser, experienced the sunrise mostly by yourself until the rest of the party comes to coming out of the different wagons and tents that they may have posted up in this sort of traveling caravan. You guys, I'm gonna say, were able to travel, let's say, like 3 miles last night away, like about like 3 miles north along the road from Windshire, just to sort of like give yourself some buffer space from the shit that went down last night. The morning is a little brisk, but warms up quite nicely as the sun starts to roll, and you start to see that the clouds that normally would be coming over the horizon from the ocean is, mildly calm. You imagine there's not going to be much rain, if anything. If anything, there's not going to be overcast today.
As everyone steps out, they just see Raiden on the horse, like, we're standing up on 2 feet right with the sunset, just majestic as shit, because he's been spending his morning, like, just practicing riding the horse around.
Okay, can you just make this was something I've established in my last campaign.
Yeah.
Because, like, I think there is actually a feat that allows you just to be, like, proficient with, like, mounts and stuff, or something of the kind. So until you're able to get that feat or do it the homegrown way, I'm gonna have you make I guess it could be an animal handling check, but actually, you know what? We're gonna make just an animal handling check because it's like specifically controlling the horse. Go ahead and just make an animal handling check for me, and we'll see what kind of like maneuvers you can sort of get into early in the morn.
Okay. That is an 11.
I mean, you're able to like move confidently with the horse, where like if you were in pursuit or running because of danger, you feel confident that like if the terrain isn't rough, you could manage. Like, you've ridden, like, for some reason, like, actually the reason why you're able to do so good is because it's almost like a sense of deja vu, but it's like the undead version of having deja vu. You have like this strange feeling that feels like a memory, but it's too vague to be certain. But you remember in this moment, at some point in your past life, you have ridden something, and you get this sort of deja vu sort of feeling. But yeah, you put in a couple runs before the rest of the party wakes up.
Yeah, I put in an image of what it looks like in general, or at least like what I'm thinking.
That's badass.
Okay. Yeah, for sure. But less purpley mane. It's just all black mane. It's just black all the way down.
Oh
like
yeah.
beauty.
Just wispy-ish.
When Troxy
yeah.
and Gilgamesh come out of the ground as she opens it with mold earth and comes out of their den, she kind of sees the horse, and it's just like her like bare mouth kind of like drops open in like awe. As Gilgamesh will go run to chase the horse.
The horse.
Oh yeah, he's like naked. He's full skeleton body.
Oh fuck yeah, dude.
He was like having like a skin to skin, quote unquote, bone to skin, like horse connection moment.
How do you feel as the rest of the fellowship emerges with your armor not being in your armor in that moment? Just out of curiosity.
He feels free.
You, my friend, did a fate point. For feeling comfortable in your own bones.
That's number 2.
Troxy will like see the skeleton. Is this like her first time finding out he's a skeleton?
You don't even realize it's Raiden at first. And it's not until he says something that you are able to put the voice to the image you're seeing. It's
I'm
really
fine
trippy.
with this. I'm just saying last night on our way back I wasn't wearing the helmet, but I'm fine with this course.
Troxy was pretty tired from last night, but she'll look at him and then she'll look at Zafriel and see what his reaction is.
Zafriel just kind of has a smile that curls, and he just sort of steps out of the sort of hole that you sort of burrowed into the ground, and just gives him a hearty sort of smile and nod, and just walks straight to the fire to start boiling some water.
Wait, so Zafriel was in the hole too?
Oh, sorry. I thought I was under the wrong impression. He would have been in the fucking
Mobile home.
Mobile home.
Okay,
That's
sorry.
my bad. I forgot about that. Yeah, but yeah. The correction to the timeline has been made. He actually came from the mobile home, but things still transpire the same way as they would have.
Fair enough. She kind of like nods her bare head and kind of like lets out a small growl to tell Gilgamesh to come with her. She's gonna go hunting with Gilgamesh.
And in the middle of like trying to antagonize the horse, which, mind you, is completely unfazed. It's literally just standing there like almost like a static illusion. You know what I mean? And he's just like, and as you growl out in your little bearer form, he just like, he just turns around and you watch as like a Rocky Balboa amount of spit comes out of his mouth. It's just a huge mutt at this point, and he just like barrels over himself and runs towards you to join.
Quick question for you.
Go for it.
Since my druid level is now 6 and I got an improvement to my wild shape, would it be okay if my bear form went from like the size of a cub to like a little bit bigger?
You bet your fucking ass.
Oh, so
like,
no, it's the first time she's been this big before.
Yeah, so up until this point, you've been able to transform into like a medium-sized creature of a bear, right? But as you like emerge from the earth, much like the plants you watched grow from the forest floors, you emerge anew. And as you grow out and flex and stretch, you feel the form of your bareness has fucking increased, dog. We're just gonna say, when you specifically transform into a bear, you're considered a large creature.
Hell yeah. She just does like this big shake after she growls. Like, and she doesn't even realize there's a difference. She just feels good. And she,
Yeah,
takes...
you're like a solid foot or two taller than you would have been.
Nice. Would you say I'm extra 100 pounds?
Oh fuck yeah! We'll say like an extra 175. You're fucking you're big bear, dude.
Cool. She just goes hunting with Gilgamesh.
Cool. Just go ahead and make a survival check for me. And also you can do it at advantage because Gilgamesh is still a pup. He's not quite
he's training him.
He's more. So just roll at it with the
Yeah, I agree. He's training him. Plus, I'm proficient in survival, so don't I get advantage with that anyway?
It would don't. Are you a ranger?
No, but I have the green dot next to it.
Well then that means you have advantage. I would imagine.
Beans.
I don't know where it's from, but hey, I'm not gonna argue with D&D Beyond.
So that is, oh fuck yeah, that's 13 plus 6, that's 21.
Go ahead and roll a D4 for me.
Okay, yeah. A 1.
So, in your little browse through this, like, the area where you are, is the transition zone from plains, which are up the north side of the empire, and towards the south start to get a little more hilly and a little more bubbly, and where you guys have camped this far from Windshire, it's like kind of that point where it's like still kind of plainsy, but there are some hills with some trees on them, and you see this large sandhill crane. It's probably like, we'll say it's like 4 feet tall. It like to realistically feed like 3 people. It's a big fucker, and you're able to sort of, if you want to describe like a maneuver that you do with Gilgamesh to sort of take it out, I think that'd be great.
Cool. So as she's teaching him how to prowl and how to hunt, she tells him in animal language.
I'm
You
thinking
know,
of Lion King 2 right now for some reason.
is that right? She tells him to prowl around to spook it into running towards her.
Cool.
And so because he's a big fluffy, just big fluffy. You guys know what a mastiff looks like, where they look like they have a fro.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's basically looks like that. He'll like kind of pop out of the bushel in front of it, and as it runs back, she just like comes out of the bushes, grabs it by the neck, throws it up, and then just like snaps her neck down and just slams it on the ground.
Fuck yeah. And like the first initial swing is like is enough force for the neck to snap. The slam is purely for the animal aggression that it just boils beneath the the bottom.
Yeah, and she'll bring him back to camp. Do I need to do an animal check for training Gilgamesh?
Yeah, roll an animal handling check to see how well he received the because the maneuver was successful, but we'll see how well he sort of took it all in.
That'd be an 18.
I think you can see the neuroplasticity at work. You can see that he's catching on to the idea. Right now, you strongly get the impression that he still thinks it's a game. This isn't like serious, but continuing to work with him, you imagine, is just going to be easier and easier once he starts to dial in what the fuck's going on,
Okay. She'll come back to camp and she'll go over to Faye and Faye or Fia? Fia. I'm bad with names in general, sorry. She'll go to Fia and just drop the crane in front of her and just like look at her.
Fia, you see like you see Troxy come up to you, but in her bare form, she's like honestly like 3.5-ish, 4 feet taller. Like if she were to stand up on the ground, maybe she's like 1.5 2 feet taller, But she's a big old bear now, and you just see her drop this like large sandhill like crane that's like you just see blood covering some of the feathers where its neck was snapped.
Wow, it looks like you grew and your food grew with you.
She kind of like looks at her paws and then like looks back at you, then looks back at her paws, and she like sits down and she like stares at her paws. And
yeah,
she like
they're considerably bigger.
And like her little ears go down, and she's like looks excited, and she just lets out like the loudest roar that she can of like happiness that she just realized.
It's probably an octave lower than what it would have been like just 24 hours prior.
Yeah, she just starts rolling on the ground happily, like she's just in a good mood.
Fuck yeah, Gilgamesh gets up on it, dude. He's like, he loves this game, and he just like jumps on you and like, it's just like biting on the scruff of your neck, and you don't even feel it.
She'll wrestle with him while the rest take their turn now.
Fia, what would you like to be doing this morning?
Well, now I have this bird. So I instead of burning it like usual, I'm gonna cast bonfire and set it up on like a stick across the top of the fire and pretend like I know how to cook.
You actually see in that moment Zafriel, like, it's one of those rare moments where Zafriel's it's not much of a visage that he puts up, but like you just see more of him in this moment where he's struggling to like use his flint to light the fire at the moment, and he lets out this type of sigh that you feel the heaviness from. It's like and he just kind of stares into the unlit fire pit when suddenly you sort of like this huge fire that extends out like 10 feet tall, but then grows back down to like about 6 feet tall and just sort of maintains at that height, and it's extremely warm now. And you just see Zafir like, he just looks over at you surprised. Well, thanks. And he just starts to boil his water.
I'll just man that and wait for everybody else to come out.
Okay.
And then once it's done, kind of divvy out the pieces.
What about you, Endless? You kind of did you sleep in the wagon, or did you have Jeffrey make you a little web bubble?
So where we're at right now, were there any trees around us?
I'd say this far south, because of the transitionary period of the two sort of biomes, if you will, this area, relative to the area you've been traveling in around the city of Urim, has much more trees, but we'll say about every 200 or 250 feet, there are a small cluster of trees. When before it would be like maybe like every 500 feet you'd see like a single big tree. You know what I'm saying? So it's still sort of far in between, but like there's bigger clusters around in the area. But it's still mostly plainsy type hills.
Okay, so then if there's like no trees in our immediate camping area,
We'll say there's a small cluster. Like I would say you guys would have used that as an advantage when you're looking to bed down, and we'll say you nestled in some trees so you're not just like out in the fucking open.
okay, so first thing in the morning, then while Raiden was riding around on his horse, butt-ass naked, Engless, you would have seen Engless like coming down out of a tree as Jeffrey lures him down with his web, all upside down Spider-Man style, and he sees Raiden and he's like, "Ah, oh, God, man, cover your shame." And they both just kind of descend from the tree and go and sit by the fire and join everybody else.
What about you, Raiden?
I have no idea what you talk about. I have no shame, clearly. All I see is bone.
And it's beautiful for those who can respect it or admire it, to say the least. The bone is like, it's really bleached. Like, you look like a classic, like, white skeleton drawn, like, in the 1960s. You know what I'm saying? Like, that classic
Oh,
white.
yeah. Troxy, I must say, you do look like you've grown a lot. Actually, your bear form is quite larger than I remember it. I think your mother would be proud.
Troxy just lets out like a happy growl, like roar, as she like pats her like stomach, and she just like gives like a 2 thumbs up with the with her claws.
As you guys gather around the large bonfire that has been supplied by Fia, the day starts to sort of come by. We'll say at this point, after everyone's able to sort of eat and put their armor back on for the day and make whatever preparations they would need to get up and go, Zafril will stand forward and sort of address the fellowship at large. He sort of stands cocked off side of the bonfire. Everyone, I think it's best we come up with a plan. And as he sort of wrangles everyone in from the where you guys been staying for the last little bit. Now, it's because of the information we've been able to obtain from everyone's efforts last night. I think it's apparent that whatever is planning to be done in Windshire must be stopped.
Aye.
But how does everyone else feel about this? I feel I don't know, but I just have a feeling. It feels right.
I agree.
Troxy will transform back into herself. As she'll kind of run over near Zephyr, and she'll cast her healing ability, where her eyes go green and like a big greenish ghostly bear forms and just starts licking his arm, healing it. As she's just trying to help fix his arm faster.
Great.
She goes, "I'll do what's right, and if I have to lay down my line for those people, that's what I signed up to do."
He looks to the rest of the group. I believe the full moon will be tomorrow night, so that's not a lot of time, and I just don't even know. I think I need some time to think, and he just sort of like starts to ponder.
I think I have an idea that utilizes each of our strengths, but each of us will have different key roles to pull this off. I think
with his full attention.
I think with the horse, I can, and my undead appearance, I can pull the guards away from the area, keeping them busy long enough for the rest of the party to then either Fia or Troxy, whoever has more knowledge in how to destroy this barrier, could destroy it, while another destroys the salt. And if the barrier is destroyed, then that would let the people disperse. We would have to convince the people why they need to disperse in either different directions or just go away. But if we remove a component of the spell, either the salt or the people, then I think the spell should not be accomplished.
I can Proxy, just as she's healing, she just goes, "I could turn into a really quick rabbit, and we could maybe put like something like for me to drag, and I can just ruin all of the salt."
Fia, I'm gonna say, actually, can you make me a history check? I'm gonna say it's at advantage though, because we're calling some information about the defensive sort of setup they had when you entered the city initially.
Okay, just a sec.
Can Raiden pull out one of his books?
Yes.
He pulls out a book of chemistry and flips through it, and he just says that somewhere here, I think there's something.
15 on my roll.
Okay, so when you initially entered the city, everyone was sort of keeping an eye on the amount of guards, or at least the perception of the amount of guards. You specifically remember when you entered the city, there were two sort of, whether they be wizards or not, two wizards sitting on either side of the initial entrance of the barrier, seeming to maintain concentration on the spell that seemed to be the barrier surrounding the city. And you only got that inclination because you saw a shift change between one of the wizards concentrating on the spell. So, that being something, actually, yeah. That's it.
I
I just
have
worry.
an okay.
I just
Go
worry
for it.
about letting all the people escape, because some of them are actually infected. Have we realized already before I came, if the infection can spread?
Yes, everyone is aware of that. It definitely so far it seems to spread mostly through contact, like, but there hasn't been a lot of like research done on it, you know.
I forgot something. I'm still very sick.
No. There was a time where.
He's greater restoration, I think, on you too.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Yeah, and Zafril, I believe, also made some medicine checks to sort of like prop you guys back up to health.
Yep,
Yeah.
never mind.
Well, that is a problem. We could have Troxy, your mold earth ability. Could you feasibly make like a way to separate those less infected from those most infected?
I could, yes. But I would have to go in there, which I would do. But I have a better idea. If you give me 8 hours, I can destroy all the salt and not one of us have to be there.
On that notion, Fia, you've casted a lot of fire spells. You could theoretically, from what I remember, if you can generate a heat hot enough, you could explode the salt.
Okay.
Basically, you
can.
can, if you can melt salt down, you can break it into a separate atom, and one of those is highly explosive.
Proxy immediately just goes as she's gonna transform into her fastest bunny form, and she's gonna start heading as fast as she tells Gilgamesh to stay with the caravan, and she's heading straight back to the town.
Oh,
Okay, well, we will get to that in just a second. You guys just see like Troxy like get like a house moment, and she just sort of like has some sort of epiphany, poofs into a fucking like beefy looking rabbit and just takes off. And that's what just happened.
what is she doing?
Zafril looks immediately concerned and like takes a couple steps forward before he like realizes that like even if he wanted to catch up to you, it wasn't gonna happen, and at this point you're now on your own accord. As he sort of turns around, well, I hope she's safe. I do have some words though. I don't know if letting anyone. I know there are people that are not sick in there, but at this point, we can't risk letting anyone get out. So maybe the barrier staying up is a good thing.
I do agree the contagion should be contained, but I am just afraid that if you remove a component like salt, if they can't find another way to use the people.
Regardless, I think destroying some sort of component for this awful spell is most important.
Oh, I agree. I want the salt to be destroyed. I ponder if there's not more actions that we must take to prevent anything.
Make an Arcana check or history.
They're both the same.
Well,
But
it's a different context though.
yeah, I'm trying to think what context. I think I'll do history. I've been doing a lot of Arcana. I'll do history. That is a 16.
You have fucking no clue.
Damn. The only two components I know of is the salt and the people.
We could try to take control of the wall. So, like, we're doing it, but I don't think we have, like, enough manpower for us to do that and still be able to fight if people come. So, I'm not sure the best way around that.
Maybe we could try preventing them from getting to the town in the first place. Closing up the entrance for a time, or finding, I don't know, intercepting Hermione before she arrives. One or the other might be better.
Where would we block off the are you talking about just in front of the where the wall is? Because then we'd still have to take control of the wall.
Yeah. We'd have to convince at least the wizards of what is happening if they're on our side, to maintain the barrier while we block up the entrance.
This may be more of a DM question, but did people saw that the other guy died, right? That we like explode his head, or was that like in his tent? So nobody saw that.
No one saw that. But the abomination creature did, but that's it.
Well, one of us could. I have disguise self. I just picked up a new thing where I can disguise other people.
No, you didn't.
So we. Yeah, I did.
You got teaming?
Yeah.
Is that fifth level?
Yes.
I thought you got innovation and immolation.
Oh no, I got innovation and steaming.
Oh.
I said the wrong thing.
Cool.
Okay, so yeah. Anyway, I got. We could maybe use that to our advantage, but disguise self is limited. So.
Yeah, if you transform into the person over the garrison there, you could convince the wizards to close the barrier. That would at least provide some kind of prevention for Hermione.
Zafiro steps in at that moment and says, "That's not a bad idea, but who's to say that they're not all in on it too?"
That's my thought. Who's to say who is in on this and who's not? The barrier itself could be a component. I have honestly no idea. I'm at a crossroads, per se.
With that, as you all are sitting there, we're gonna kind of walk back over to Troxy. I can't remember the amount of time you're able to stay in your wild shape form.
An hour.
An hour? You know what? I don't want to try and do the math of like how long it would actually take you to, as a rabbit, travel 3 miles. But
I guess it's run like almost
we're
50 miles per hour.
we're just gonna say that you get there in 15 minutes. And so you got 45 minutes of hair form, and you're to the point where you're 80 feet out from the main gate and the entrance to the barrier to the city itself. You see things are kind of like not in chaos, but like the men who are operating at the post are like a little bit more out of formation than what you've become to know as you've seen them throughout the last couple of days.
Okay.
You're not sure what's going on, but it seems a little more disorganized.
She's gonna transform back into her normal self. She's gonna use mold earth to make a small hole for her body. She's gonna go in there and use mold earth to cover her, where she has like a little tiny window where she can see the village.
Like Toph, like sort of.
Basically, yeah, but she's in the ground with,
Sure.
with her head a little bit out, you know, so
Gotcha.
she can see. And she begins meditating and chanting. And as she starts chanting, vines start to kind of like grow and like latch onto her, and flowers start to like kind of like flower pods are forming, but they're not blossoming. And she has like a green aura coming from her, and her white, the symbol on her forehead given to her mom even has a green outline, but it's still white, as she's getting fully covered in these vines as she just keeps meditating and chanting.
Are you casting plant growth?
For 8 hours.
Okay, tell me what your goal is.
I'm gonna cause it to grow at the dead center of the town, which is, and it does a half of a mile radius. And
Yeah,
I want to use.
That's enough to cover the town, and a little bit then some.
Yep, I'm gonna use the plants to break the salt apart and absorb the salt into its soil.
Okay, the effects of the spell will still happen. This check doesn't determine the effectiveness of it. I just would like to, into it, in addition to that, make a wisdom check. Just straight wisdom.
Okie dokie, boss. $15 plus 2, that's 17.
In this process of casting the spell, this is the first time you have ever done this. And you've never seen this done. You're not even aware of it in the moment. To describe it as something is an afterthought. You instinctually go into the earth like a seed would and begin to grow and mutate and send out your energy out through the land around you, dispensing so much natural reserves that have just been building up your entire life. You just watch as you immediately, the little cubby that you have dug out immediately grows grasses and like vines, now small, like little teeny vines grow from the ceiling and kind of wrap around your arm. And over the process of the next 8 hours, you will continue to cast a spell, and at the end of the day, we will come to see the result of it.
Perfect, because I just see her, like, as she's doing it and things are growing, like, she gets covered in the vines, and when the spell happens, all the flower pods, like, blossom. That's, like, what I kind of, like, see in my head. I'm just excited,
Right.
sorry.
No. Right as they blossom, you immediately get this out-of-body experience where you observe yourself casting the spell, and it's not a visual thing, it's more of a feeling. It's hard to describe. And as that happens, you feel this warm sensation as if your mother is with you.
Oh, I love it.
We'll cut back to the Fellowship, crafting their plan of devastation. We'll have Endless pick it up.
So, I'm not gonna lie, I feel really dumb right now. But for some reason, the last thing I can remember happening is Claire exploding that guy in his freaking tent, which was absolutely horrifying. But like, the synopsis of that story, like, I don't know why, but I'm lost. I don't know if it's just because it's been a minute. So
We can say this is in character. We can just have someone explain it to you real quick.
yeah, just like, guys, like, I'm not gonna lie, I haven't been sleeping good, and like my mind's been elsewhere. I've been thinking way too much about Evelyn, like an unhealthy amount. So, like, what are we doing?
What do you mean what we are doing? We are doing what the party was formed to do. We are fighting Radagast and his consort Hermione. That's what all of this has been about.
Zafril chimes in. We... Endless. First of all, we haven't talked about Evelyn. And he just sends you he just sends you daggers with his eyes, dude. He stops himself from continuing after that point and holds his tongue. And you picked up on that? Lives are at stake, Endless. And he kind of takes a deep breath. Professor Hermione will be here in less than 12 hours to cast who knows what. We know that the salt that was deposited there yesterday is going to be a component of some kind, and the document that we recovered from that disgusting thing from last night. They're going to form some sort of sigil in the city. We're talking right now, Endless, because we're trying to save as many lives as we can.
As soon as he said disgusting, I casted magical tinkering and saved the voice recording of disgusting. So now I have just this thing that I can press like an easy button. It just says in his voice disgusting over and over.
That's great.
So disgusting.
He just...
Good.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think Thea was trying to say something.
I'll go for it, Pia. Sorry.
I was just gonna explain what we were doing, but you got it covered.
No, please, Fia. Let Endless understand the situation fully, so he can get it through that thick skull. And he just loses at that point, has gotten a little too angry, and just kind of walks back into his mobile home. And he slams the door.
So we were trying to decide what components of the spell to destroy, but then Troxy ran off, so we're at a standstill because we don't know what Troxy's doing. Troxy is not in rabbit form anymore, right?
No, she's in her form.
She's in her human form, but you don't have any inclination to know what form she may or may not be in.
But go for it.
Can I does she have to be in a certain range for me to cast message?
Within 120 feet, I believe.
So she's not close enough.
You would have to use sending or some other type of message like that.
Oh, don't I have a thing? Raiden, didn't you make me something?
Yes, he made you a necklace of sending.
Yeah, so you can just do the sending like for free, I guess. Ish.
I will say once per day.
Is this like one of the things that's 25 words?
Yes.
Okay. Troxy, what is your plan? What are you doing? Respond in 25 words or less.
And all you will hear is like whispers of Draconic. It's all you hear over and over again, different phrases, but it's just like static. It's just non-stop.
Fia, when you get this response, the message doesn't make sense, but the feeling of you get the feeling that Troxy is doing something. You're not sure what.
Casting a spell.
But she seems to be casting some sort of spell.
She didn't respond in ways that I can understand, but she seems to be casting some sort of spell.
Well, all we can surmise is she's destroying the salt because that's what her idea of the plan was. That or honestly, I have no idea.
She probably is destroying the salt, so we can assume. Let's just assume the salt piece is done. Um, I don't know what to do as far as the people goes, though. We could disguise self and try to make those guys be convinced to keep, whatever. I think if we let people out, we risk infecting others, which then ultimately would make their spell bigger. So
I
I don't
have an
think that would be.
idea. I believe. I could cast Prestidigitation. I believe I said that right.
You did, and it's a tough one.
And I could create an odor of just foul corpse and meat. And if they are turned enough to be attracted to such a foul smell, enough to want to eat it, then I believe they're too far gone to be saved anyways. So that we could kill them. And that would remove numbers from the spell. It's dark and
That is really dark.
it's dark and not the best thought to have, but hard to save the most amount of lives. Hard choices must be made. Quote Thanos or something.
I agree. I think there's certain things that we can't get away from in this situation. Some of these people, unfortunately, we found them too late, and we can't reverse this spell. Even with using like dispel magic, I can't. There's only so far I can go. But we're gonna have a hard time convincing Zafriel to let us do that.
The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. And thinking about this, I don't really have too much of a plan. And one thing that I can do to help out is everybody in our party, I can cast Pass Without Trace so we can sneak by things easier. I've also, and you see Engless like flipping through this book and he kind of holds it up to you. I've also been reading through this book called Casting for Dummies, and I picked up a spell called Conjuring Animals. I mean, maybe I can conjure something cool that could help. I don't know. But sneaking, I got you.
I think this is the best course we have. If we have no way to cure them, then I would go as far to say I doubt the people, if they were in their right mind, would want to be used to kill more innocent lives.
I agree. I feel like we should take care of things in the most humane way possible. And I don't know the best, like you said, I think using the flesh smell, like you said, might be a good way to attract them all. But we still got to keep the wall up probably while we do that, right? So they're still contained.
Yes, so we would have to have the army most likely off our backs if we're killing what they would consider innocent people with the limited knowledge they have of what is happening.
Or if they're in on it, part of the components of their known spell.
Yes, I'm not sure what to do about them yet. If they are our enemies or our allies, that is yet to be seen.
So, the morning hours start to roll by rather quickly as the Fellowship deliberates and continues to plan their means of going forward. As lunchtime strikes, Troxy still has not arrived back to report on anything. At the top of the morning, though, at the top of the afternoon, rather, something strange starts to happen. The the lack of the amount of clouds that I described to you, Raiden, earlier this morning, the lack of any, there seems to be a strange amount of clouds, not forming any particular shape of concern, seems to be gathering in the direction of Windshire. I'm going to say with everyone's background in the arcane and just natural weather, what you're seeing isn't like necessarily normal, but it's not like a tornado's forming and you see this extreme movement of clouds going towards. You just start to see these large clouds start to sort of manifest and build and slowly kind of grow and move over Windshire.
You know, now that I ponder this, a spell great enough of this caliber of necromancy, it's not as if it takes a short amount of time to cast as he slowly is like walking and looking at it. Do you think she's already there and conjuring the spell?
I didn't think about that, but that's very well possible. But I think if she was gonna be there, wouldn't the guy? I guess the guy doesn't know anything.
You have a point, Fia. That the at least the document that you had received confirmed the professor's arrival at the full moon, and what preparations must be made to get that done.
So from the document, so she shouldn't be there until after the full moon, or I mean tonight at least.
Well, yeah, you're not wronged into assuming that, but like you said, anything is possible.
Quick question for you.
Please.
Was the salt in bags or was it like laid out?
It was like in like Utah winter style, large mountain-sized just pile of salt. It was probably like maybe 12 or 15 feet tall.
And I saw where it was, right? Like I know where it's at.
Yeah, you can picture it in your mind's eye.
Perfect. I'm gonna grow like a whole bunch of like apple and orange trees where it's at. That's like the one thing I'm gonna do.
Okay.
I do not peer as deep into the arcane as you, Fia. Would it be possible for another to concentrate on a spell and then, example, Hermione come in and then take over to finish off said spell?
Make an Arcana check for me, Fia. So let me re-ask your question to make sure I understand. You're asking if can someone cast the spell and then her come in and continue casting the spell?
Yeah, it's like if this is a 12-hour like take to cast a spell, I'm wondering now if the mages themselves casting the barrier have all this time been casting that said spell or preparing it in some way.
I got an 8.
Okay, I'll say this much. It's not out of the realm of possibility. In fact, you've seen it done as you walked in. You know it's possible for some amount of the spell's work to be done and for someone else to step in and continue that work. So you know that's definitely a possibility. But something else, I'll say this much, because you only rolled a 9, I won't go into too much detail, but as you're sort of thinking about all of this, like, the scale of this stunt of whatever magical ritual this is supposed to be, this isn't even like 9th level magic. This is some powerful mortal shit. Like this is things that like this whole thing is unique because it's almost extending past or trying to exceed the limits of what seems to be possible.
I think, for one, the spell that they're casting to hold the wall up is too powerful to be casting that plus another spell. I do think that can be done. You know, maybe they could start it and Hermione come and finish it. But it's such a different level of magic that I'm not super familiar with, so I don't know how far their capabilities are. But just from looking at the initial wall, I feel like it's too strong for them to be focusing on something else too.
I guess it doesn't have to necessarily be them, but why are these clouds forming in that direction? It's just maybe it's Troxy's doing, but it's just ominous.
Can we do like a nature check on the clouds?
Yes. I'll accept a nature or arcana check.
I'll do nature. $19.
What you're witnessing, this is not a natural phenomenon. Like I said, it's almost as if imagine what a storm would look like if you were to see it form from 0% to 100%. It's similar in that sense, but the way the clouds are moving and the way they're sort of being stretched out at the end implies there's some manipulation of the arcane somewhere in there, and it's almost clear as day that what you're looking at isn't natural.
Can I try an arcana check?
I'm gonna say no because it was either the nature check
Okay.
or the arcana check.
So I can confirm that that's not natural. It doesn't look like that's a natural storm moving in, and it's obviously being pulled over there. I couldn't pick up on if it's of malicious intent or if it could just be Troxy.
Well, at this point, I think all we can do is go. We have somewhat of a plan together for murdering lost lives and destroying the salt. For Hermione, well, I have an idea for when I see that creator of mine, but I'll wait.
Did anyone else see where the salt was, or was it just Troxy who saw that?
It was I don't know if it may have been Troxy who, I can't remember the timeline, but I know that the party witnessed the cargo bringing in the salt to the city. You know what? Everyone has, when you all went and looked throughout all the sick people, I'm going to say everyone noticed the big old mountain of salt. And
It's inside the wall.
Yeah,
then?
it's inside the wall.
Well, I guess I don't know how we can get inside. We'll have to think about that. But if we're able to get inside and we decide that's a good idea, we could see the salt and see if Troxy is working on that, and then go from there, I guess.
Okay. Cool. So you guys are going to make your way to Windshire?
That sounds like it.
Yeah, I believe that sounds like the plan.
You get Zafriel's attention, and as he comes out, he seems to have gathered his composure, and he shoots over to you, Engless. as he exits out and is going towards the front to man the thingamajiggers, the reins. No hard feelings, friend. I'm just. This is hard. And he gets himself, jumps up onto the top of the mobile home, and and you watch as the ox both begin to, and the mobile home sort of like out of place and gets back up onto the road, as well as with the rest of the fellowship following in tow.
Are we to assume that Zafriel heard our plan about killing people?
No. He's been
Okay.
in the mobile home up until you guys were ready to leave.
I was gonna explain it to him, but if anybody else wants to be my guest.
No, go for it, Raiden.
Come on, English, why not? He's already mad enough at you. Go tell him the plan.
Hey, how about this? How about we both go tell him?
You know what? I like that idea. Let's both go tell him this terrible news. I'm sure he'll hate.
Yeah, and as Angus like slaps his arm around your shoulder, like, come on, and he like he takes his fist and like gives you like one of like those like good sport type things, like, we got this.
Yeah, and he'll just grab you and put you on the back of the horse with him.
Whoa.
He picks you up and puts you like your little kid in front of him on his lap as you ride up next to Zafril.
And the funniest thing with this whole thing is, like, this is actually a bigger horse. Like I described before, this is like not a standard sized horse. This is probably like a horse 1.5 or 1.75 enlarged times.
Shit.
Like it's bigger, and like with Raiden on the horse, it looks like it's to scale.
So, like,
but with Engless on there, he literally looks like a child just because of the two large bodies he's with.
what's the weight difference from English's horse to that horse? What's like the weight?
I'm just going to say it's magical, and the weight is indeterminate of the horse. Until I need to actually.
Does it look like it has like an extra 500 pounds? Is that like that's how
No,
big?
we're just going to say it's a magical horse. Like it's
Okay.
it.
I'm just trying to get size in my head is all.
Oh
that's all.
right.
Like-
Wait.
like,
I have no idea how to judge a weight of a horse, to be honest.
Like bigger than a Clydesdale? A Clydesdale?
Clydesdales are huge. They're
I'll-
like 3 meters tall, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're huge.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if that would be big enough for like an 8-foot-ish tall mech suit guy to ride on, sure. I don't really know.
Probably like a little bit bigger than a Clydesdale.
Sure, we'll say that.
That's huge. Damn. Okay.
That's a big damn horse.
I would not want to pick
And-
up its poop.
And the whole way that we're riding over to Zafriel, like, you just see the biggest shit-eating grin on Angles's face. Like, he is loving this.
You sort of
Oh,
like,
this is like a 3,000-pound horse.
you just sort of like gallop up next to the wagon, mobile home rather, and you see Zafriel look down at you. Hello, Endless, Raiden.
And the English says, and he kind of like gives Zafriel a nod, and he just says, like, Zafriel, like, I want you to know that I have zero hard feelings about everything you said to me. I know that my mentality has been kind of all over the place. I promise you, I'm trying to do better. I'm up to speed. I know what we're doing now. And speaking of which, Raiden has this great plan. Go ahead and tell him. He slaps him.
That's
Yes. He like gives a little cough.
well, and he just sort of
So,
yaws the ox.
What me, Fia, and English decided was there's varying levels of progression of disease inside the town. Some people are still a human, innocent live. Some are abomination-esque, and some are just too far gone. We do not have a cure in our arsenal, and we don't know if we ever will. But
What
we
are you
have
saying?
to try and thin the numbers. My idea is to spread the foul smell of corpses at the entrance of the barrier, and if any come to such a foul odor, and most likely in the appearance of abominations, we dispatch of said innocents.
You saw the people in there, Raiden, didn't you? I won't discount this plan, but by no means are we leading with this plan. I can't. This is emergency only. If we can't do anything to stop this, then the lives must be taken.
I don't know why you just have like a decent Obi-Wan Kenobi impression going on.
He does.
Wait,
He
really?
does. Yeah.
Yeah, kinda. Like
I
I felt Obi-Wan coming through a little.
I felt Obi vibes. You're getting there. You
Wow.
could get there.
I do not want to lead with this plan either, but I also do feign to think that these once innocent lives that are now feeding on corpses or becoming one themselves will want to cause more innocent lives to be lost.
Zafriel, I plead you to think of it this way. You and I together have slain these abominations. We know how far gone they can be. We know that at some point there is just no going back. If it was you, what would you want somebody to do if you were gone?
Would they stop you from breaking your vow accord, or would they not?
Damn, you guys attacking it. You guys are using his own. Damn, that's fucked up. Let's play dirty.
I am not a perfect man. He at this point sort of stops the mobile home. Did I turn and walk away with Hendrickson? Did I turn and walk away with the love of my life, Larxene? Did I turn away when Null was captured? Engless, you have a very important lesson to learn in this lifetime, and I, as a friend, hope you do. There is always a light in the midst of the darkness. And the sooner you realize that, the sooner you can appreciate the life that lives around you. And he just gets the caravan up and running.
English looks back at Raiden and goes, I think that went swimmingly.
Someone got fucking like lectured hard. Damn.
Right as you say that, he says, "What the hell?" And at first you get like sort of nervous. It's like, "Oh, teacher's looking at me," and then you look up and he's not talking to you. He's looking down the road, maybe 60 feet ahead of you, on the main road that you're traveling on. You can see Windshire off in the distance. It's like maybe another mile and a half. You see like this, like if a demon were to sort of manifest itself into the realm, imagine like this sort of like birth of flame that wreaths around in sort of like a circular formation before it dies out just as quickly as it formed. And you notice that there are like 3 humanoid type figures that seem to be wearing like very shiny plate mail or metal armor of some kind. From this distance it's hard to tell. And you see a bunch more like Avengers Endgame style, like a bunch of these little tiny smaller flame wreaths open up, and you can see little tiny flying creatures amassing in the middle of the road, seemingly to block the path of the Fellowship of the Standing Bear. Zafriel just sort of is overcome by the moment. Who wants to step in?
English, you had to mess with a devil, didn't you?
Right as you
Hey.
say that, Raiden, Zafiro looks over, and you just see this expression of course, on his face.
Dude, you're gonna get beaten later. There's gonna be a serious discussion.
It's gonna be a two-man beatdown of Zaf and Raiden on the English.
And Engless like draws his longsword and looks up at Raiden and he's like, I don't know. You don't know that that's her. Don't blame this on me.
As the Fellowship begins to continue to travel down the road, the road stop, if you will, begins to make the distance, and I'll give you guys a couple more moments to do or say something before the two parties meet to interact.
A moment to what? Sorry.
2 moments now, you have.
Can I do like an investigation check to see if they are with Evelyn? Or
That would
whatever
be
check that.
That'd be perception, but yes, please. If anyone wants to join in, please roll.
It sounds like a grand idea.
Sure.
You said perception?
Yes.
Ah, shit. That's a 7.
That's a 20.
Fia?
16.
Raiden and Fia, you notice as the distance becomes closer between the two parties, you specifically notice there are 3 humanoid figures, and because of the direct sunlight, you can tell that their complexion is like classic, like devil's butt red. But they are like, it throws you off at first because it almost makes you think like you're seeing someone from the Empire, but that's only because you realize like the type of like armor they're wearing is protective, but mostly presentatory and for show. You can see that the closer you get, both of you notice that there are some gems encrusted into like the chest plate, and the more and more you get the idea that these seem to be very official looking members, to say the very least. Anyone else? We have one more moment to go before the parties meet.
English shouts out, who goes there?
As you shout that out, your heart just starts pounding in your chest, and that sort of like
Life.
chaotic adrenaline rush that you get when Evelyn is near and you spend time with her starts coursing through your veins, and you like unintentionally release like a gasp of air, like, and as that happens, you get a response. We are here on official duty, as one of the plate mail clad devils appear as you get close now. These are 3 humanoid looking devils. You guys have encountered tieflings before. Imagine 100% rather than like 40% like a tiefling. These are full-fledged devils. You're looking at them like their eyes have this ember-likeness similar to Fia, but it's like feels more innate. It feels otherworldly. And as they look over to you, their skin sort of has like an oiliness that makes it sort of sheen slightly in the sunlight.
Official business with who?
The devil seems thrown off guard by your willingness to be so endless. He sort of coughs, looks over to the other 2 devils, and they just look over back at him. And you see now the little creatures you saw before. There are about like 6 or 7 imps that are all wearing sort of like leathers, flying around into space. Every once in a while, you feel like your hair get tugged because one flies behind you and pulls your hair.
Damn it.
As far as the energy goes, the group, although senses a powerful foe in front of them, no signs of aggression have been made. The devil clears his throat and unravels the scroll that he has in his hands a little bit more. We are searching for the one who calls himself Engless of the Fellowship of the Standing Bear.
Fucking Engless.
Seen him
Raiden
in this-
whispers. Go ahead, English.
Oh, English was just shout back. Don't know him, never see him. This is the Fellowship of the Walking Trees.
Make a deception check. At disadvantage because of your sarcasm.
Damn it. Oh no.
Oh no.
Damn it.
A 20 and then a 5. That sucks.
Oh. So he looks at you. I was warned you had a tongue. Best you hold it. And he just sort of like kind of hisses, and you see a little bit of a devil.
Raiden whispers to English, "Go along with this. Hold your, save your breath, sire. I will talk to them personally." As he hops down from his horse with a thud and clank of armor, and walks towards the entourage.
You see Angless reach up and grab his tongue and just hold it.
Oh my god.
Hey, so not the one that addressed you, but one of the other plate mail clad devils notices this behavior and shoots a pretty like roll an insight check for me actually real quick. As you see Raiden sort of like approaching in a sort of like, you know, bridging the gap
Dirty
manner.
20.
What's that?
Dirty 20.
You get the impression that, like, these guys weren't sent here to kill you, but that just really set him off, and you feel, you pick up the energy of him like, oh, this little piece of shit. Raiden, as you approach, the devil who is reading from the scroll looks to you and stops reading for just a moment. I'm sorry, I'm not sure who you are, but we are here on royal decree. As he... oh, go ahead.
Raiden just gives a formal bow. 1,000 apologies. My name is Raiden Thorndoom. I'm here to conduct business on behalf of the young master. Please pardon his rudeness. He is very disturbed of late.
He looks over, looks at you. Doesn't necessarily seem convinced. Looks back to the scroll in his hands. We have official means to be here. Now please, let me continue. And he takes like a step back so he can like have more control of his position in relevance to you. It is by the royal decree, by the Master of Lies, the King of Charm, the ruler of the 9 hells. This message is to be taken as a warning and not to be taken lightly. He stops reading the scroll, looks over at you, Engless. Looks back up rolls the scroll back up. It is by official decree by Asmodeus himself that any more fornication of any parties from the 9 hells will not be tolerated.
Oh my god.
Is this clear? And he rolls up the scroll and looks over at you, Engless.
And at this point, like, Angless, like, hops off the horse, but, like, falls trying to get off. And it gets up, brushes the dirt off of him, and he walks up and he says, I want to make something clear.
He just looks at you blankly.
She comes and finds me, not the other way around. I'm just in love with her.
You watch as the three devils in plate mail just react with disgust, and the imps flying in the air just go, ugh! That like make it like an awful kids imitating the sound of throwing up. You see that the devil reading from the scroll looks over at you. Listen, mortal. Not many like you have got the chance of a lifetime. I will not stand and have a foolish ant like yourself say such awful things of my queen. This decree is final. Anything else will be considered insubordination.
He
hands you
Rain
the
calls
scroll.
Queen?
He doesn't hand you it because you did you walk up to him?
Yeah.
He hands you the scroll that he read from. Do you unroll it?
Yeah, I take it from him and... Actually, I don't unroll it. I take it from him and I look, I am in 100% agreement, but what do you want me to do if she finds me? Is there like a 911 Satan number I can dial real quick to get you guys?
He just looks at you. He's still disgusted that you're implying that Evelyn would seek you out. And the fact that you're asking for help if that were to occur, he doesn't even entertain the question. Because that's just simply not the case in his eyes.
You can ask anybody here. They will tell you. She finds me. She found me the first time. Found me the second time when she gave me a freaking cloak that tried to strangle me.
He just looks at you. You are making this very difficult, mortal, for me to stick to what was agreed upon the mission. We will leave it there. If you ever get confused, or you're ever uncertain, read that scroll.
You see Engless turn around and he like waves it in there. He's like, yeah, ready, I got it. And
They
walks
turn
back to the horse.
around and their form sort of shifts in that wreath of flame, and as the three leave, one by one the imps flutter out of the space, leaving you back on the road. Officially warned.
Can I attempt to set the scroll on fire?
Yeah, so you pull out some flint and just kind of chink chink, and it lights on fire, but it just continues to stay lit on fire. It's a contract from hell.
Of course, you fuck a queen from hell. Of course.
We
An archdevil.
we never fucked.
You know what? Besides a face cover that I made for you, because at some point you're gonna lose your face, I'm gonna need to make a fucking like false penis for you, because you're gonna get your penis cut off.
We never fucked.
Don't lie to us. Don't lie.
We didn't.
He talked to her, that's enough, I guess.
I guess no. I made a deal with her, and then I went back on it, and then we killed her, and I cut her head off.
Yeah, I don't know. You made a deal with an archdevil. What do you want?
Actually, just as if anyone thinks their character would be interested in this bit of history on Asmodeus, roll a history check. Otherwise, don't go ahead and you don't have to roll.
Sure. My character can speak Infernal, so I assume he's pretty interested in it.
I got a 13.
What was it? A history?
Yes.
That is a 18.
Asmodeus is the literal king of the Nine Hells. There is, though he is an archdevil, he isn't short of that of a god. He is literally like the nine hells is his domain. And the it's hard to it was kind of hard to contextualize before because mortal and devil kind of having this like little romance thing, but trying to add the extra layer of the wife of the god of the nine hells, it's like so far out of your reach, Endless, that like it doesn't matter because it's so far out of your reach. It doesn't matter if you reach for it.
And you cut her head off. So, right. All right.
So let me get this straight. What I remember is Asmodeus is the king of all of hell, and you killed his queen, beheaded her, and have some kind of relationship with her.
No,
Do you have a death wish?
I don't have any kind of relationship with. I just have a crush on her, and
You are talking with the wife of a god. He has immeasurable power that will end not only this entire party, but the world as it stands.
Listen,
Do you know what you lightly tread with?
Listen, you saw her. She's hot, and I didn't just cut her
He
head off. I
decks
cut
Engless
her.
like with all power, like booming blade, thunder gauntlet, just full lethal damage decks him.
You just see Tom and Jerry style.
Shit, you're muted.
Oh.
You're muted,
You
yeah.
just see like Tom and Jerry style, like a lump, like a goose head grow like a couple inches off of his head.
I think he's missing the important parts of your message there, Raiden.
He's like full on hitting him with damage with like the gauntlet and everything.
Oh yeah.
I mean, if you want to roll for it, then yeah, that's fine. But we can just say it happened. It's up to you. What do you want to do?
I'll just say it happened.
You get knocked off the horse, Endless. Oh well, no. I guess you wouldn't be back on the horse. We didn't say you
No,
were.
we didn't get on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
You just like get fucking launched like 3.5 feet in the air and sort of slide an additional 6 feet as you look over and like. Regardless if Endless is able to catch on it, the party looks at him with concern.
Raiden is just like pointing a finger, slowly walking and scolding you like a parent. You so easily tread with devils and kings and gods, but you just so nonchalantly throw away the world as it stands like it is nothing to you. Does your life mean nothing? Does all of our lives mean anything? If you're going to continue these childish antics.
So, Raiden, as you're marching towards Anglus, pointing your finger, yelling at me, Anglus leans up and he's like, "Look, it's not that I didn't take. I've learned a lot. Okay, when I first met Evelyn, I thought she could help us find more information on Radagast, so I agreed to a deal with her, and then after seeing what she could do, I realized that I was making a mistake, and I went back on the deal, and then she attacked us, so we killed her, and then she came back. I don't want to do any more business with her than anybody else does on this plane.
Well, that is all good and well.
I can't
Continue.
help my feelings. Just because something about her just sparks something inside of my soul. First I thought maybe I could turn her good, and it would be a good ally for us to have, but clearly that is not the case, and I don't want anything to do with her any much further, but eventually she's gonna find me.
And when that transpires, we will cross that bridge together. But I'm mainly imploring that you learn from your failures. You said you did, but when these demons, noble as they were, appeared in front of you, you egged them on. Who knows how powerful they were? They could have killed us, but you did not consider that and took that not to your heart. Our lives could be at very stake with some of these actions you make, and I don't feel like you considered your actions when you make them.
Damn.
See English think deeply on this, and he says, I apologize. I never meant for anybody to feel like I didn't hold your lives just as valuable as mine. I, my mouth does run away from me sometimes, and I think it's a coping mechanism. I will do, I will do better. You guys deserve better from me. I deserve better from me. It's time I kind of hold our goal in front of my face.
And it's at this point Raiden puts his hand out in an effort to grab his and says, "That's what I wanted to hear."
Engless gladly takes your hand.
Wow. I'm gonna say, with that last interaction, Endless, you're now able to get to you can now use the secret handship feat with Raiden in combat if you wanted to.
Oh yeah.
Oh, cool.
I forgot the handshake.
Yeah.
But with all that being said, you guys continue forward south to Windshire. And the closer and closer you get, something weird starts to happen. Those clouds that I mentioned earlier have pooled over the city and sort of circle around it in a very sort of methodical and ocean-like way. And it's at this moment you see something that is very much not how it was when you left it. Windshire currently at this point has like what's the word, maleficent like thorn like vines that are like a foot or 2 feet thick growing up the side of the barrier of Windshire. Right now at this point early in the afternoon, it's probably about halfway up the barrier, and you imagine whatever is happening at this rate, at the end of the day the whole barrier will be consumed.
Huh. Why is the plant life moving in this way? Is it our druid, or is this,
I think it is our druid.
no?
That's what it sounded like when I was trying to talk to her.
I hope so. I hope that's what it is. Maybe this cloud is helping the plants grow, but it's just so ominous. I can't help but worry about it.
Can I do an investigation check to see if I can find her hidey hole?
Yeah.
$19.
I'll say that with a careful eye like yours, as you get a little closer to the city, you do see a little bit of a nook where on the ground, surrounded by this little cubby of a peak hole, the ground seems very much more full of life than anywhere else around it. Um, you know, you have a good inkling that that's probably where your friend is.
I'm gonna go peek where her eyes are probably poking out of, and I'm gonna see if I can see her but not disturb her.
Okay, I'll leave this up to you, Troxy. It's up to you if you want to be coherent while casting the spell or not. But you do, your body senses the presence of Fia. It's up to you if you're I don't know, how do you want to roll with it?
She'll just like sit there meditating, like as she's like covered in like more and more flowers that are just slowly blossoming as the spell is growing, and she's like almost like covered in vines, and they even look like they're going into her skin as well. But when she senses Fia, she just has like this small little smile, and she'll say Fia's name in Druidic, but she'll keep chanting the spell.
Right on. Yeah, Fia, you see, she, like, whatever nature sort of divine magic is happening right now, Troxy definitely seems to be the source of it.
I head back to the group and I say, yes, it's her. She's cat. Oh, I thought he just turned off the
Oh
computer.
yeah, I was like, no.
Again?
I thought he did, but he didn't. I think we're good. Anyway, sorry. He, she's in her hidey hole, and is casting. I think all these vines are because of her. She seems to be pretty into her spell.
Okay. For Raiden, can he do a perception check just to see what the guards are doing? Like if the same amount is there that he can tell in the wizards.
I'll say I won't have you roll. The amount of guards seems to be about the same. Like I described earlier, they were lackadaisical before, but like you don't even necessarily see anyone standing on guard. You just see guards about. They just kind of seem like they're taking the day off. You know, you can't see the wizards, and you know that the reason why you can't is because they're on the inside of the barrier.
Hmm. Hmm. Raiden would just go up to the barrier to see what's happening inside of it.
As you approach, does anyone else want to proceed with Raiden?
I'm gonna go into Homeboy's. Is Homeboy's tent still there? From that we killed? Well, Troxy
It's
killed.
destroyed. The tent's been
Okay.
destroyed. It's been. You can see like the remnants of where the tent was, but it's been, yeah, it's knocked down. As the rest of the fellowship goes forward, the remaining guards look over at you. Can we make a group intimidation check real quick? Because these guards like aren't the best fighters, and they've witnessed you, and I just want to see if they even want to challenge you as you walk up.
I rolled a 24.
Damn. Okay, Engless and Raiden.
What do you want me to roll?
Intimidation. We're just trying to. You're basically, the fellowship is rolling up on the entrance to the barrier for Windshire, and we're just rolling a group intimidation check to see if the guards even want to fuck with you.
Can
That's
I, since
12.
we're riding on the same horse, can I give him advantage? Like a together check?
I'll say you can either give him advantage or you can also roll an intimidation check.
I'll give him advantage. Why not?
Okay, go for it. And let's roll an advantage.
Yeah.
14.
Nice. As you guys roll up, you see some guards go, "Ah!" and then they like swallow their tongue when they realize, like, especially the most iconic part of the group is the large hunking piece of metal, and they just look over at y'all rolling up, and they just point in. They don't even question you guys. You are given access to Windshire.
Nice.
Nice.
As you guys approach,
Nice.
you see this dome goes about 100 feet at its apex in the center. But as you get closer, like I described, the foliage and the amount of vines and like tree growth that there is occurring is like scaling up the side of the dome as if it's trying to like penetrate. As you walk into the city, though, the town rather, the effects of her spell seem to not affect the grounds. The area of the spell is being shunted out by this dome, and you imagine why it's growing up the side of the dome.
So the salt is on the inside, and her spell isn't making it to the salt, ultimately, right?
No, but it is creating sort of this like shell, if you will.
So if we were to have them stop casting, would in theory her vines create the wall?
Ooh. Oh,
I
good
mean, maybe we'll have to see. That sounds cool though.
point. Troxy, keep going! Keep it up, girl!
Well, what she's doing, what her plan is technically not working from what we can see.
Yes, so that means we fall to the other version where you light the hell out of it with fire.
Oh boy, where's Saffriel? I gotta make sure he's not gonna kill me if I do that.
Oh wait, do you mean the people or the salt pile?
The salt.
Oh, okay. I
I
thought
was
you
like,
said
no,
the
no,
whole
no,
town.
no. I don't know. Your whole thing's like you have a lot of fire things you've been casting. So I was like, if anybody can get this thing to melting point, it would be her.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
well,
hey.
okay. Are there any of those? So the masks aren't safe then, right? There's like nothing to go in and protect ourselves.
As far as you know.
All right. Well, I'm gonna cast fly.
Cool. And then what?
Well, all you guys have to stay here, and I don't know what I'm gonna do from there. Hold on, just a second.
I mean, I can go with you if you need help. It doesn't affect me.
Can they even interculture with my vines? What my vines are doing right now?
Right, so that's what I'm saying. Like they're able to get access through the gate, but essentially the plant growth that you were intending to grow within the town, the barrier seems to be blocking. So the growth that would have occurred there is now occurring outside of the barrier and sort of growing up. And
Trying to get in.
at this rate, by the end of the 8-hour casting, you'll have like this huge shell of vines, trees, and like debris of plant matter that formed essentially what's a natural dome.
Would it keep people out? Not them, but
Effectively, yeah. I mean, it's pretty dense. Like this is a pretty serious level high spell.
fantastic. That makes me happy. All's good then.
That could eliminate the barrier, and then we have a way to keep Hermione from getting in.
Did not see that coming, guys. Not gonna lie. Did
I
not
mean,
when I
yeah.
saw that, I was like, I know what I'm gonna do.
That just means we can remove the casters, and if it's like that way we have our own barrier that might not be influenced by her.
Yeah, just let me finish my spell first before you.
Oh, of course,
Yeah.
of course.
I need the mold.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. So it's just a matter of, because at that point we can get rid of the wall, and then we can decide what to do with the people once we control the wall.
Raiden, not, or I guess Raiden would say this, but Engless and Zafrael, stay here. I'm gonna follow her in case anything happens.
If you want to, Fia, you can twin that spell and cast it on Raiden as well.
Oh yeah, that's true. If I'm casting fly, can I cast other things, or does it take up my concentration?
No, you just can't cast another concentration spell.
Okay, well I need to see if I can use anything that's fiery while I'm using that.
But did you want to twin fly?
Yes.
Right as you say that, Raiden, Fia snaps her fingers, and your feet get lifted up off the ground with a small spiral of thin flame, which sort of produces the loft you would need for the spell, disperses, and is now active on you.
Raiden's just like, holy fuck!
Did you?
How do I see which, like what it uses?
Can you be more specific?
Mm-hmm.
You should say it over the chat so they can hear you.
I'm just trying to figure out how to use my spells.
It's all good.
So you're trying to figure
All
out how
good
to
in the
use
hood,
immolation?
son.
Is that what we're doing? Are you trying to use immolation?
I can't use my spells if they're the same. So that's what I'm trying to figure out. I can't use another concentration spell, right?
No. Well, you could, but you would drop concentration on fly.
I'm not talking over the chat.
Well, I want to, so they're not left out.
I'm just gonna say fly over there, land, fire.
That stresses me out.
I mean,
I can't do
I will
that.
say, even if you're flying inside the dome, I'm sure whatever it is, if it's airborne, it would still affect you.
All right, give me 1 second, guys. All right. So what are you trying to do?
I just need to figure out what I can use.
Layman Bob.
I mean, you could try
Huh?
to use any spell that has fire, I guess.
Hi, how you doing?
I was all smiling with cat ears.
Like,
Meow.
I can't use anything that already has.
Nah. Wait, what? How does the Japanese cat sound?
so if you click on the
Meow,
spell,
or something like
Yeah,
that. Nyeh.
yeah.
the
Meow.
casting time,
So funny.
the duration. If the
New
duration
or
says
something? I don't know.
concentration, you know
Ooh,
it's a
there you go.
concentration
Close
spell.
enough.
Otherwise, if
Stupid.
it's
Well.
instantaneous, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
I like my cat ears.
They are adorable.
Alright, Raiden, so I can't remember where the salt is, so you can lead the way, and then I'll cast fire things on it.
Okay. It's an interesting thought. I doubt this will work, but could she fit inside the armor? Since I'm mainly just a skeleton.
I'm gonna say that's a solid no.
Okay, worth a
Yes,
shot.
that's solid.
I mean, worth a shot of avoiding disease, but yeah, I'll take it.
I appreciate the creativity, but that just opens the gate to a lot of crazier things that I'm not prepared to deal with.
Honestly, I don't know what I would. I don't know. I don't know what you're thinking of, but it sounds like it'd be fun. Anyways, let's. Yeah, he just leads the way.
So you guys coast to the back of the city. As you guys look down, you just see a wave of sickly people. You notice the group of people that were dropped off yesterday are still gathered up where they were dropped off, and they're trying their best to like push out the other sickly people who at this point feel compelled to swarm them occasionally, and it's pretty awful. They're not doing too good, but after like 2 minutes, you're flown all the way to the southern point of the city, and you see this big 12 or 13 foot high pile of like salt.
Okay, so when we get closer to the salt, I don't know how hot it needs to get, like,
We'll
so,
find out.
yeah, I guess I'm just gonna start at the lowest level, and we'll go up if it doesn't work.
Next time at Dragon Ball Z.
I will. I mean, I would assume it'd be pretty hot. So let's see what you got. But
Okay, I'm gonna do Scorching Ray on the pile of salt that I see.
What level of spell is that?
Second level.
You watch as two serpent-like bits of flame sort of toast through the sky and like and make this sort of growling noise as they pierce into the salt. Go ahead and roll for damage. You can add your charisma to this one.
what is that spell? Do you like literally cast rays of sun?
Yeah, it's similar to like arcane. It's like magic missile, but fire, and it's not auto hit. But does more damage.
Is it a modifier or a spell?
Modifier.
12.
You watch as the bits of flame that get shot out do burn parts of the pile, but effectively seems mostly unaffected at large.
Okay, I'm gonna have to try something else.
Via, you need hot. How hot can you get?
You probably need the most.
You need
immense
supernova,
heat.
Johnny.
You need like
Yeah.
level 3.
Honestly, I looked up what is the boiling point of salt, and you need the sun.
You need the sun.
2,669 degrees.
What kind of power do you have inside you, Fia?
That doesn't seem unreasonable.
No, I mean we can generate that heat on the Earth, but it's pretty heavy heat.
This is magic, everybody.
Pull that magic heat.
Okay, I'm gonna
Yo,
do a
listen,
fireball at level 5.
Oh, okay.
That might do it.
That's fucking hot. Go ahead and roll damage, please.
That's what he or she said.
5th level fireball, everybody.
I didn't
That's-
ask how big the
that's a
room was.
fuckload
I
of
said
damage.
cast fireball.
I'm in danger.
Yes.
She's like, oh, not hot enough. Let's destroy everything then.
Okay.
You know, like,
I'm at 11,
11.
and I need to roll.
oh, someone should make like a wizard that has like Freeze's personality and like
19.
Plus 19?
voice.
Oh yeah.
Total.
Okay, 19.
Then just burn then. I don't know. You have to have a really high pitched voice to do it.
Every single roll? Or at the
No,
end?
Yeah.
just at the end.
That might be it.
Plus 4.
We might have to try that sometime.
3.
You would get to do Frieza's laugh. Oh ho ho ho. Yeah.
Right, how many times?
That's actually pretty good.
Did you hear my Frieza? You hear
I'm
that?
watching you roll.
Stupid monkey!
Okay.
I am Lord Frieza!
That wasn't too bad.
I know, right?
Okay, so that's
I might start learning how to do Frieza's voice.
Little
And
lower
then-
pitch, and I think you got it.
36.
And then I'll play like a wizard that's like has Frieza's personality.
36.
36 points of damage.
So, Fia, I when Raiden keeps like telling you we need hot, he just and like those words just start to echo in your head. Describe to us how you dig deep to produce this flame.
Um,
I don't.
so I don't know if I've told you guys some of my backstory. So I am a spy master, and most of my spy team all of my spy team disappeared on a mission.
Mhm.
So I just tap into that anger that I'm holding, that they're like missing, and I don't know if they're dead, and I channel that into like not letting these people die, or I guess die for no reason, the ones who are already gone.
And you watch as you like extend your hands out, and you like fire like a torch comes from the base of your palms as they sort of meet in the center, and it shoots out
Are
this.
you muted?
God
think he's
fucking
muted.
damn it!
I can't see your camera. All I could see was your hands waving around behind her, and I was like, I think he's
Told
talking.
you,
Yeah.
he's so animated.
Gosh dang it!
He really is.
I wish my camera was working. I don't know why it isn't.
I just want to know how close we are to this, because this shit might blow up.
We'll say you're a safe enough distance for now.
Yeah, we're flying. We're good.
Woo. Oh yeah, we're like flying.
You watch as you guys are flying throughout the air. You begin, as you charge up this fucking fireball, it sends out this little marble that condenses down into like the size of a grape, and there's a little bit of a delay before, and the initial eruption from the magic itself is huge. But once that creates the amount of heat that I was looking for, suddenly you just hear a and your eardrums fucking wee. They just start ringing, and you look up and you just see like dirt, dust and debris, and even some like tents get blown up to the air and get contained by the barrier, and it's kind of trippy because of the barrier. You watch as the dust that you had created from this explosion starts to sort of like fill the space, and the shape of the dome momentarily becomes more apparent. As the dust settles, you see nearly 2/3 of this or more of the salt has been destroyed.
I don't know if they can do the spell with what's left, so we're probably good.
Let's hope so.
Do you think we should try to get rid of the rest of it, or do you think we're good right in?
I mean, getting rid of more would be better. So if we can, let's try to. I know you might not have a whole lot of firepower left, so we can either try barreling it out or some other matter.
Hold on, I'm looking at my spells.
Spoken like a true spellcaster.
That's what I'm actually doing. I have Shatter. I just don't know if that would move it.
Shatter would definitely do some damage. I don't know if it would destroy it. It would definitely scatter it.
Okay, so this time I'm gonna cast Fireball. Just at 3rd level, but I'll twin it.
Oh, okay.
Win it.
So what spell are you casting again?
Fireball?
So, typically, the only way you can twin a spell is if the spell itself only targets one person. So, like, the spell like Fireball wouldn't work. Because it targets multiple, potentially.
I could do Shatter with your Fireball, maybe.
That'd do some shit.
A 3rd level may do it, since there's not as big of a salt left. I'm just worried it's not gonna get hot enough to do anything if I don't cast it at 5th level again.
Yeah.
Baby. Is he muted again?
No, I'm just doing stupid things trying to get my webcam to fucking work.
IRL, the basic components of sodium are like salt is sodium chloride, highly explosive. So just melting one of that would just cause a large chain of explosions, most likely killing people. But that's IRL. I don't know. I like thinking like things.
Well,
I was wondering that, like, if that explosion would have killed some of the abominations.
make a perception check, you two. Because as
Sure.
described, I did mention a couple of tents being thrown up in the air as well.
Oh yeah, true. 16.
I think mine's just a 9.
Fia is a little too distracted with not being sure of how to handle the rest of the salt. But Raiden, as you look down, you notice there were pretty much everything within like a 30-foot radius of this salt is like just destroyed. You can see fresh earth that has been pushed out because of the debris that flew from the initial explosion. But there are like a handful of, let's say, like the equivalent of 3 families that have died or perished from that explosion, and their corpses are now being fed on by these sort of like hybrid abominations of people.
Oh god, do not let Zafriel know.
Raiden casts Shatter on the salt. 10-foot radius.
Okay, go ahead and roll some damage.
I'm also gonna cast Bonfire around the salt. Cause is it still in a pile? What's left, or is it scattered?
It's mostly in a pile. Like there's still like, you know, we'll say like.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna cast Bonfire on the pile then.
Okay.
11.
Damage. 11.
E.
As you cast Shatter, you watch as like a disturbance in an air current that shot out of your palm and enters the pile, and just a moment later shoots it all up like you would like the inside of a vacuum would look like if a bunch of debris just was flying around inside the chamber. As that happens, you watch as like the it maybe isn't as an intensive enough heat for a serious explosion, but from the combination of the magics, you're able to sort of disperse and burn away, or at least soil the amount of salt that's left, where you can't imagine this to be useful to anyone at any point.
Raiden at this point goes around killing any of the people or abominations, whatever would be the best descriptor, that are eating the corpses. If it's eating the corpses, he kills it. And he just says, Zafriel will not like this, but I'm willing to dirty my hands in lieu of others.
I'll say one thing. I'll let you kill as many as you want. Like I'm not even going to make you roll for it. You are such you're getting up there so far in your adventuring career that these life forms don't really pose much of a threat to you. So dispatching them is extremely easy. I will point out one thing: as you take out a couple of your, just using your gauntlets and fucking booming blading their fucking asses to Mars, you notice that a lot of these like abomination type creatures that you're seeing are sporting some of the features you've come to recognize, but maybe more so to you because of your heritage, if you will. There is like a very distinct amount of humanity within these abominations that is simply not present in the ones you find in the wild. Do you wish to continue?
He continues, but before killing any of them, he calls out to them, basically looking for a response, if any. Just asking, are you still human, and would you eat a person if you were?
Persuasion check.
Not one to eat faster. No.
That is a 22.
You look at them, they don't seem to have a lot of intelligence, if any at all, but enough to recognize your voice as you speak. This hasn't been the case up until this moment, because you haven't necessarily opened yourself to it. Raiden, they look at you. You ask them that, and they just look at you blankly like an animal would. There's nothing there, but they give an empathetic response, and you pick it up with your empathy yourself, and you see yourself. You see whatever's happening in this moment, however it differs from the abominations in the wild. These people are you. They have potential. And you see it in this moment.
He stops and he asks them to stop eating to see what they would do.
Again, like as you try to converse with them, they acknowledge you, and they honestly, they don't even approach you as an enemy. They just, you seem to sort of blend in with them, if you will. Like they don't seem to be bothered by your nature. But again, they're just like mindless. Like you remember how it was before you ultimately gained 100% of your consciousness.
I called down to Raiden and I asked him, what did it take for you to get consciousness?
Well, I'm not 100% sure, but the way it kind of felt was I was basically Radagast had his hand, or would it have been Radagast or Hermione?
Um, all signs point to Hermione, but you don't have any actual memories of before you got consciousness.
Okay, so it basically the way I could describe it to make sense is Hermione had her hand, quote unquote, around my neck, and she let it go. She basically let go of control over me as like a servant, and over time I just gained my own sentience and personality through my own will.
Do you have any idea how we could get Hermione to release her control over these guys?
She would either have to let them be on their own for so long, like I was, that they basically just become their own person, or she would have to willingly let them go of her spell.
What if we killed her?
That may work as well, but I am not certain.
Um, can
So
so can did he just like remove fly? Can I just like put concentration back up to get him back to using fly?
The spell lasts 10 minutes, and you can walk on the ground or fly. As long as there's concentration held, the spell lasts. And I'll say you probably have about 6 more minutes before fly runs out.
Raiden doesn't want to fly. He'll walk out.
okay.
Okay.
Well,
Well, Raiden, I think we should just meet with the group now that we know that these guys may be different and see if we should come up with another plan.
Okay. I agree. I'll meet you there. As he like realizing kind of the humanity left of him and somewhat of his rash decisions, he buries the two he killed.
You notice the two that you bury as you are almost about to cover up their face. You watch as some of the deformations on the face sort of recede, almost as if in death they're released from whatever had them in a mortal coil.
I'm sorry for what I did, but hopefully you find peace in the afterlife. As he like uses sticks as tombstones.
We'll cut to 15 minutes or so later when Fia and Raiden are able to join up to the party. In the meantime, Engless, would you have liked to have been doing something with Zafriel? Essentially, you guys are sort of standing outside of the front gate.
I guess I would have maybe picked Zafriel's brain. Like, what can we do while we're sitting here?
Endless. I think maybe we should. He seems to be having a hard time forming genuine sentences. You get the sense that Zafriel feels like he has a lot on his plate, and he hasn't had enough time to emotionally digest the whole devil roadblock a mile and a half back. And he just looks to you. Endless, I don't know. I don't know.
Engless can like see.
Oh, is he? Can you still hear him? Hello?
Colton can't hear us.
just want to try quitting Discord, maybe.
Yeah, he just asked me if after hearing you guys, and I guess he can't hear the Discord anymore. So he's restarting. Sorry, everybody. Yeah, same. I know, same.
Start making bracelets that say WWTD.
What would Tuck do?
I love it.
Hello.
Saw.
We can hear you.
Yay!
Yeah.
Still can't see me for some reason, though. Wow. Okay.
Rest in pieces.
Endless, if you wouldn't mind, Engless, picking up what you were just about to say to Zafril before I punked out.
So I just said that, like, Engless can see the pain that Zaf is going through right now, but he's not really sure of anything that he can do. And Engless turns to him and says, "Is there anything I can do for you, my friend?"
He just looks at you, and you can see like a tear or two sort of well up. He looks back out to the horizon, where you would be anticipating the enemy to come from, and he sort of like wipes his cheekbone off a little. I miss Hendrickson.
Engless, like, scoots closer and puts an arm around Zafriel and says, "I know. I miss him too. I hope he's okay."
Yes, me too. At which point, the party reconvenes right outside of the gate. But we're going to cut away. As you all are forming your plan to destroy what's going on here, we cut to an unknown location where we see a humanoid, a familiar humanoid, wearing dark black and purple sort of plate mail. This is the figure that you have fought against a couple times now. You see he's walking down what appears to be a hallway made of stainless steel and a generic looking marble on the floor, very much reminiscent of one of the abandoned research towers that the Fellowship has investigated a handful of times at this point. At the end of the hall, the figure stops, puts his hand up as the door opens mechanically to the side, and instantly you hear the wails and screams and cries for help that you could all imagine in your heart of hearts at this moment. It's like a choir of misery. As it rings throughout the hallway, the figure steps inside of this large holding chamber, which is relatively the size of like an indoor soccer field. And you just see bumbling around like a confused mosh pit at Warp Tour a bunch of abominations and regular looking civilians crying out as they look up to the figure. They all, "Ah!" They just start screaming. He puts his hand out, and they all sort of stop their whimpering and shush their cries as it all gets very silent. Soon, children, we will prove to the world that we have done it. And he just sort of like clenches his fist, and you watch as like two large gates, the size of the room itself, open like large bay doors, and the abominations and creatures of the like begin sort of like being filed out in a sort of chaotic sort of manner, with people with like pokers and, you know, things to sort of poke and prod the crowd to get moving. As we cut back to Thea and Raiden coming back to the group.
So, we think we got take care of the salt, and Raiden got down on the ground to fight some guys, and he has some things that he may have seen that he'd want to share.
I don't know really how to tell it, but there's some bits of humanity left in these abominations. They seem different than the others. Almost, I wouldn't say sentient, but have the potential to be. I don't know if that means that if we stop these plans, they will just revert back to the way they were, or if we stop them, they will just be sentient abominations. Either I am eager to see.
I think that I didn't even think that if we ended the spell that they could potentially just go back to normal. We could see that, and then also we could do one test run, but over time I could slowly use dispel magic to get off of them if they're not like regular abominations. Dispel magic may work.
I'm not sure, but it's an interesting theory nonetheless, and I'm willing to try that.
I have one question to ask the Fellowship so far. With what you've done, do you want to stall out the rest of the evening, or the afternoon rather, into the evening hours to see what completion comes of Troxy's spell and we can jump to there? Or do you want to try and make some sort of more preparations in the... We'll say you have about 3.5 hours or so of time before this evening takes place, where we'll be picking back up, if you catch my drift.
Huh.
If not, it's totally cool. What you guys have done so far is pretty significant, so I'm not trying to say you should do more, but if you would like to do anything else, this would be the time.
Raiden would like to talk to the guards just to see if he can glean anything. But I do have a question as a player. If I want to prepare a spell to like cast and like if it meets certain requirements, do I need time to do that? Like how much time, I guess?
Can you be more specific?
Like, let's say when Hermione appears, however that may be, or if that may be, could I have a spell prepared to like cast when she does?
Um, I mean, I think what spell would you like to cast?
Hypnotic pattern.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's a pretty legitimate thing to just sit there and wait, and then once you see her to cast a spell, for sure.
Okay, I just have to be within 30 feet of her.
Oh well, I mean, if the opportunity were to arise, it would be an option for you to be able to cast.
Okay. Okay. I was just wondering, kind of like a hold action, but we'll
I'll
just see.
I'll say, because of the like span of time, it won't be. I think it's not necessary to treat it like a held action like in combat. Like
Okay.
if it were to like for example, she could show up, but what if she doesn't come within 30 feet? Like, do you want to go up to her and then cast it? Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah. Yeah. True. Yeah, I wanted to walk up to her and cast it, basically.
well, that could be part of the plan for sure.
Okay. And I wanted to bring English along, like good cop, bad cop style. Question these guards.
Sure.
He's just
Down.
like, yeah.
Endless, you make your way over to one of the guards. One of them has just recently finished taking a piss. You can smell it just sort of like fragrantly in the area. Um, he seems to be hanging out with his buddy. They seem to be like brothers, maybe lifetime friends. They seem to know each other very well because like he like picks the other guy's nose. It's strange behavior, but
What the fuck?
they just look over to you. They're both like human. They seem to be in their late 20s. Looks like they both grew up on a farm.
Oh, and smells like somebody needs to lay off the asparagus.
You see the one like failing to notice the large two people coming towards them. Hey! We saw what you did to our old captain over there. We don't want any trouble. And the other guy steps in. Yeah. We don't want any trouble. We don't want any trouble.
Oh, good. So we're in agreement.
They just look at each other, and like almost in unison. Yeah.
Good.
Dude, I
Good.
love it.
I'm letting you take the lead on this thing. That's what you got.
So, I would. I'm glad that we're in agreement because I would hate for the same thing to happen to you.
They look at each other wide-eyed. Oh no. The other one, the first one to speak, he has blonde hair and like rosy cheeks. And the other has like dark hair, but it's like a bowl cut that stops right above the eyebrow. That blonde hair. Please, we don't want our heads to explode. I promise. We'll. What do you want? You want some gold? I have some gold. And he like, Ted, come on, give him your gold. Come on. They just like kind of fumble their things.
You see, English holds on his hand. He's like, I don't. What are you doing? Stop. Like, put that away. Trust me. I don't. Your 5 gold pieces aren't gonna do a whole lot for me. I've got more than that. Now, it seems like if you're willing to hand over your life savings, maybe you're willing to tell us what you know. And English like raises an eyebrow, like as far as it can go.
Um, I'll let you pick the angle because it's still kind of either way it can go. I'll let you make either an intimidation or persuasion because you can kind of make it lean whatever direction from that eyebrow.
We'll go with persuasion. I'm feeling, damn it, 6.
Ted speaks up. Look. We definitely don't want to die, but we're contractually obligated not to really say much. And the other one steps in. Yeah, like, what, like, well, I guess it just depends. We can maybe tell you something, right? And he just like looks nervously over at your like large tin friend.
You know, the funny thing is that I'm not contractually obligated not to let your head explode.
Oh, he just grabs his neck. Oh, by Paylor's light. I, I. Okay, all right. Screw the contract. I don't care. That professor's weird, anyways. What do you want to know?
Everything.
He just looks a little confused. Ted starts to. Well, Jimmy and I, we were ones responsible for moving the salt over there, and we we were supposed to help kind of move it around. And Jimmy, at this now who you know his name, sort of speaks up. Yeah, yeah. We're supposed to move the salt around over there, and I don't really understand it, but it's supposed to help with the people who are sick.
Help. How?
I don't know, something about the salt. And Ted, also at this point, you get the impression that these guys are either they don't understand magics in general, or maybe they're foolish. It's hard to tell.
Okay. What else do you know? I want you to spill your guts here. If you think that it's information that I could possibly want, it best be coming out your mouth before it comes out your asshole.
He just sort of like stands there and looks like he doesn't look like he his body language suggests that he wants to comply, but the pressure of the moment is leaving him speechless, and Ted is sitting there dumbfounded a little bit more than Jimmy is, and Ted sort of speaks up. I think what Jimmy is trying to say is basically this professor, she is a real dangerous lady. She's already killed a bunch of the people in our fleet. Were a lot more than there were posted up here in Windshire. And she came along and said she could help with this plague, and all we had to do is gather as much of the sick and then some, and we would be able to cure them all. And Jimmy just sort of like, yeah. What he said.
So she murdered a bunch of your men, and then you trusted her to sign a contract thinking she would help you cure this disease after killing you.
Look, I know that smart people are real powerful, and it looked like she was real determined, sir. When and Ted sort of like starts to stumble a little bit on his words when Jimmy sort of jumps back in to sort of like take the pace in the race. Yeah, like she said that like it was so important that we did exactly what she did, and if we didn't, that the whole empire could fall, and when our captain wasn't so eager to go along with her plans, she displayed an effort that was terrifying, and it's best that we get that salt put in the city so we can help these people and so that we can keep our lives. We're supposed to go start work here in just the next couple of hours. But then this started happening, and he points at all the growth happening on the outside of the barrier.
If you were real men, you should have laid down your lives with your captain to uphold some kind of honor you have to your king, or just as you have honor to the men you serve next to. But I see
Yeah.
there is no honor here.
No, no, sir, there is not. Just a bunch of spud farmers here, sir. And Ted sort of jumps in. Yeah, we just needed to help pay for our debt that we had with the Empire, and here we are. And they
Now,
just sort of like grab their belts like shitty cops would, like they're proud to be in uniform, sort of thing.
Angus puts up his hand and he's like, wait, you said that she displayed like some kind of frightful power. What exactly was that?
Do you really wish? Jimmy sort of speaks up. Do you really wish me to recant?
In one fluid motion, Engless draws his sword, spins around so quick, and the blade just leans up against his neck and says, absolutely, I do.
Okay,
Ooh.
alright. I was gonna do it. Already, I swear. You sort of remove the blade just a little bit, and he takes a gulps. Have you ever seen someone's skull turn inside out?
Yeah, you're your boss.
I I don't know how to explain it. It's almost like their insides wanted to be the outsides, and then this awful. I don't know. I don't know. It was nasty. And Ted sort of like, yeah, it's probably best we don't make her mad.
You don't know who you're talking to. I'm the best at making women mad.
I would disagree, but I've seen it firsthand.
They just looked a little confused, not necessarily understanding the context.
Now, is there anything else you can tell us before I decide to explode your heads?
No, please. I thought we had a deal. Yeah, we're gonna keep our heads if we told you about the professor, right? We told you, and now we're gonna keep our heads, right?
You remember the contractual and uncontractual thing? That's me, and that's you.
Uh-huh.
All the information. I want to make sure that I bleed you dry of every little thing as I tip you upside down like a Capri Sun and just lap up all the information.
Ted and Jimmy looked at each other at the same time and split and just start running either direction.
I grab English's shoulder. Okay, that's enough. If their pants aren't soiled, they will be at this rate.
That was good fun. I'm glad I came with you.
Well, we scared off two. How about we see if we can't get the rest of these guards to scurry off? Because if they're contractually obligated to help her, I don't think it's a far fetch. They're contractually obligated to defend her.
I agree with you.
So as that is going on, Troxy,
Yes.
can you roll another wisdom check for me for fun? I just want to check in on you.
Capricorn. That is a 7.
You begin to break an incredible sweat, unlike any you've ever broken before. It's rolling off like bullets off your chin. And your eyes open in with a divine burst of light, and you just illuminate the small cubby you have, and this like it's green light, but because of the intensity and how close the walls are to you, it appears white.
Ooh.
You look over at your arms, and you just see they are slightly flexed as you see your hands, unknowingly to you, have like pierced the earth, and your fingers are like sticking into the ground, sort of like as the spell continues to go on. In your mind's eye, like the swamp from Avatar, you can sort of see the creation of the effect of your spell. You don't necessarily see the dome, but it's you have visual sight of it through the plant growth itself. Like, so your vision is the dome.
Ooh,
And
okay.
it's pretty wild, and you can see like the sickliness surrounding you. Nothing in particular is standing out, but you feel this dark presence, and your warm, natural light is just encasing it, and you feel this sort of pump of your heart, and this sudden boost of adrenaline comes to you once more. This is a pretty intense spell, and you got like 3 hours more to go. You got this. Is there any sort of lingering words that are floating in your head at this time?
She just says in Draconic, she says, "Great Mother Bear Spirit, watch over me as I do what I must." As she just tries to find the iron will to continue.
And which you do, and that sudden burst of adrenaline that comes to you is again from this like it's such a strange feeling. This connection that you have with your mother is so unlike anything you've ever felt. Even when you were living with her growing up, it's almost like it's like you're sharing from the same well. It's such an interesting sensation that like you almost feel like one with. And it just and with that you just like a full like 5 or 7 feet of progress just instantly grows and amasses over the dome as it begins to slowly crawl at a bit of a faster pace.
She just has like tears coming down as she just smiles as she just keeps chanting quietly.
Fuck yeah.
Emotional healing.
So, Thea, was there anything you would like to do to sort of like whatever before we jump to our evening point in time?
I was just watching Engless and Raiden, and I decided to assist with trying to talk the guards into leaving, or
Fuck.
otherwise intimidate them
Okay.
into leaving.
As those two guards split, Thea comes and joins up with you two, as you guys are discussing.
How the hell did you get that to work?
I don't know.
He's got the
Whatever.
magic touch.
Somehow, I'm not looking to gift a horse in the mouth.
What I did, I just noticed that all of a sudden Probot was back online, and I said, "Huh, I wonder if he'll play."
Wow, what a guy. But yeah, you three have the floor.
Oh, we met back up? Okay.
Yes, Thea has joined you. This is right after the shakedown of the guards, if you will.
So,
I'm-
go by all means.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I learned that the guards are pretty easy to spook.
Yeah, Endless, it's at this point that most of the interaction with the Urim Empire, like the army at least, like the ones in the city itself, they're very much more put together, but you've noticed a lot of like the manpower that Empire is coasting on for this war effort is basically off the farmers' backs that support the Empire at large, you know what I mean? That's where a lot of their so it's probably pretty typical to come across just a dud, and he's just a soldier in the army.
Yeah, I don't. There's going to be a lot of these soldiers that we're not really going to have to worry a whole lot about because they're not fighters.
So what he meant to say is apparently Hermione had killed a good swath of their men, including the captain. And then, dumb as they are, they agreed to a contract to help her set up all this ritualistic spells. They did not know what they were helping with, but they were dumb enough to trust somebody that had just killed a lot of them. But be what that may, that is what's happening. So I believe they will probably help defend her, come be it.
I would say, like English said, they're pretty easy to spook, and I doubt their contract, that whatever they're paid is really worth their lives. So, I mean, I'd even be willing to offer to pay some of them off to get them to leave if intimidating them doesn't work.
Can try intimidating. I have an idea in mind.
Okay. Cut to brainstorming montage. Let's hear your idea, Rain.
Summon Spookish Hellhorse. Sit on top of Spookish Hellhorse without my helmet on.
Sure.
As a skeleton, and prestidigitation a booming voice, just saying, "I am here from Hermione to collect your souls as toll to death. Flee before me, you cowards, or face my wrath. Those that stay will," or something along those lines. But I'm gonna add something in there to where only the wizards should stay, and I will spare their lives.
Okay, I'll let you make either a performance or a deception check because both are great.
Okay.
Or intimidation.
Either one.
They're all a +1, but I was going mainly for intimidation, so that's what I'll roll.
Okay.
That's a 17. Luckily, I roll in a 16 on that.
It doesn't take long before you hear a bunch of nope, nope, not today, not me, and you just see like all are like, well, that's all we needed, and you just see them like hastily packing up all their shit and like just throwing it over and just like fucking heading out.
Nope, that's all I needed to hear. All right, cool. See you.
Yeah, so over the next like half hour, like there's like only 10 guards remaining here outside of the city, and they just all fucking, they're like, yeah, we don't need to be told anymore by you guys that we need to leave. So they just get the fuck out of there. They're not even going to take any chances.
Cool. All right. Well, I guess now we wait.
Well, that leaves Hermione.
Yeah.
So, as the next 3 hours goes by, the sun begins to set, and Troxy, it's about at like 6:30 or so, 7 o'clock, you finally and you like look down and like the flora and fauna that was blooming and whatnot around you is still vibrant and full of life, but no longer attached to you in by any ways, and you are just sort of like cradled in this sort of like furry nest of grass and flower and vines, and you sort of like reach out with your hand and the earth sort of crumbles away. You see like the sudden burst of sunset rays from the sun sort of pierce your eyes, and yeah, what would you like to do?
Is the dome like fully covered and like the gate and walls? Is it like
You look up and you have to rub some of the sweat and dirt that's in your eye, and as you kind of cover your eyes to get a better look, you see that like in just a few moments you'll be able to get the silhouette a lot more, but this dome is completely covered top to bottom. It looks like a nest. It's almost like if you will, like an igloo. Like there's still like a bit of an entrance, like that you can like go in and out from, but essentially there's effectively a large nature shell.
I love it.
It's pretty it's pretty fucking rad, and like just to be clear, like although it's grown in such like an unnatural shape, it's just as legitimate as any other plant or tree that would have been grown, and so this is here to stay until taken down.
I love it. I love it. She kind of smiles. So that took 8 hours, and we have 4 more hours till she shows up, right?
Yeah, say that one more time.
So that took me 8 out of the 12 hours. So we have 4 more hours till she shows up, right?
Well, she tomorrow night is when she'll be showing up, not tonight. Tomorrow night.
Oh, really?
Yes, the full moon. Well, at least tomorrow night is when the full moon is. So it's like she could be showing up tonight. It's definitely possible.
He takes a deep breath, and I mean like a solid deep breath, right? Alright, let me ask you guys a favor. Do you guys think I should use that ability again? Or should I use like a mold earth for around the area to really reinforce it, guys?
Huh.
What do you guys think?
Decisions.
Well, I mean,
Well, I would say maybe you should take a good look around, like walk around the outskirts and see if there's any places that are compromised, and if not, then probably not do it again, but fill in everything with mold earth.
I agree.
DM, I would know if it was... You said it was fully covered, completely secure, right?
So, let me elaborate. So basically, in some areas, someone could theoretically climb through it. They'd have to be rather dexterous to do that. You know what I mean? For all intents and purposes, the type of behavior that's been displayed by abominations, you feel pretty confident that, like, this cage, if you will, would be enough to contain them. However, I will say, if you were to spend another full 8 hours, I would say that you would be able to add to the shape so much so that, like, some sunlight could get through the structure, but for all intents and purposes will be mostly solid. Does that make sense?
It does.
So, like, as of right now, you have the idea that it will contain them, but if you wanted to double down, it for sure would be 100%.
What can I do with mold earth that help it?
What level of spell is Mold Earth?
It's a cantrip. It's like what I make.
I would
my-
say
my tunnels with.
I would say, because of the potency of the spell itself, you wouldn't be able to cover enough significant area of the wall in enough time for it to mean anything, ultimately.
Okay.
You
Troxy's
need
gonna-
higher level earth magic to get some better stuff done.
Troxy's just gonna, like, kind of like beat on her chest, like kind of like gorilla. She just takes a deep breath and does it again and does it again. She's like, "You can do it. You can do it." And she just like punches into the ground with all her strength and punches again. And then she just, puts her arms as deep as they can in the ground while sitting. Closes her eyes and she begins enchanting again as she begins to cast a spell.
Okay. Yeah.
Second time.
So, you're like fucking trying to like hype yourself up, kind of get that like inner rage that exists deep down within you, and you let out a little bit of a growl as you shoot your fist with an unnatural amount of strength. Maybe it's your druidicness, who knows, but it goes in like a hot knife, like butter, and the next fist goes straight into the earth. And as that happens, you sort of like let out this roar, this growl that riles out, and instantly 3 trees Hashirama style, just pop out of the ground right behind you, and you continue the effects of plant growth.
Fantastic. Now I feel like she's gonna look like Swamp Thing once this is over, with how many roots are gonna be around her.
Yeah, man. And fate point for you, my friend. That's badass.
Fate point, was that just inspiration?
Yeah, DM inspiration.
Bet. Love it.
I
Love
want to
it.
cast Prestidigitation to like clean her off since she's been sweating, just to maybe help her feel better.
Yeah, you guys see, like, where, we'll say where you decided to post up for the second casting can be relatively close to the date or wherever the party is, just for convenience for the party. But yeah, you go right over to her, Raiden, and you see she is just, like, her skin tone looks darker just because of the amount of dirt and, like, sweat that she is covered in. And over, like, a short amount of time, you're definitely able to sort of clean her up.
You just
Okay.
see this big ass creature like on the ground, just like with this little bit of hole, like just right there.
Oh, you're doing a similar setup?
Oh, I stayed in it. I stayed in it.
Oh, okay, well, okay. Visually for me, I thought maybe you were outside, but that still all happens, but you're in your little cubby.
Oh, can still like 3 trees be popped up above me?
Yes. I was going to make a request.
Yes.
Could you do this in bear form?
Yes, if you'll allow it.
Yeah, just why not? It sounds cool.
Dude, okay.
Because like you're like channeling so much nature energy, it just makes sense for you to be in your bear form.
Okay, I can see it then. When she's just sitting there breathing hard and she's just trying to find that inner rage of her druidity, she just starts kind of like roaring and growling. She keeps beating it and just keeps doing this and doing this. It's like as like her body starts to form into the bear, and
Cool.
the grow the clothes. She just shoves one paw, like half paw, half hand in another one, and she just sits there like a bear would,
Cool.
with her on there, just eyes closed, and
Cool.
like. And she has like a green misty, like now doing it at even a stronger level. There's like a green mist of druid energy kind of flowing off of her.
Cool, dude. I fucking love it. Yeah, for sure. Awesome. So I will say, because of this maneuver, you probably knew this going into it, but you won't be able to get the benefits of a long rest.
Yep.
So you'll be going into tomorrow with whatever spell slots you spent.
Yep.
Okay, cool. And a level of exhaustion, but that will only affect your ability checks.
Yep, and that's okay.
Okay.
I have one more 3rd level spell, and that's plenty of things I can do with that, plus more.
Cool. We'll cut to this evening. Do you all want to like move your mobile caravan setup to the front of this cave? Where do you guys want to be posted up?
I think we could be posted towards the front, but we should try to be discreet and move our stuff, like the mobile home, to like the side or something, not where Hermione's gonna come from.
I can agree with that plan.
Sure, yeah.
We can even say from the effects of Troxy's plant growth spell, she could sort of like have a little outcropping where it would be a natural covering for you to just sort of tuck the wagon away, so you don't have to go clear the fuck over there to.
Hey, that would work because, like you said, like 70 feet out from the city too was affected, right?
Yeah.
So, while the dome is like completely like roots and trees, right? The rest of it, there's like trees with apples and oranges. There's corn. There's the plants that make rice. Like this whole place is like a bountiful of food, and it will be like that for a year. For a fucking year, this thing will like sustain itself, and then it will become part of just normal day nature.
Actually, you know what? You just made me realize something even cooler about you casting this spell. You get 5 hit points added to your total hit points, because if you guys are able to save Windshire, you just like hook them up with shelter and food for a whole year, and who knows
Basically.
like, what that's gonna do. and that's fucking badass.
Right? And like, it's magic for like a year because it self-sustains itself. After that, it's just part of nature. It's just part of everyday life. It could either sustain itself or it could not. Like, that's what's really cool about it.
Cool. So yeah, we'll say that the mobile home is close to the entrance of the dome itself, but tucked away around some trees and branches and large sort of like trunks that have grown out chaotically, able to sort of like, keep it from eyesight.
I can respect that.
By the way, I don't know why your comment about adding the 5 health. Didn't we do that before? Like everybody got 5 health because of power of friendship or something a while back.
We did that last episode. I mean, last session rather. I think.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure everyone got 2. Was it 5 hit points?
I think.
Yeah, probably. That sounds about right.
Okay, because I forgot to add those.
yeah. It was after it was after the talk that you had with Zafril about being an undead.
Okay, cool.
Got 151 health points, baby.
God damn.
Fuck yeah.
I think I like my build. I really do. Be supportive,
yeah.
but also be tanky as shit.
Yeah, Druid Barbarian is a cool combo.
Hell yeah.
With that being said, were there any conversations wanting to be had this evening before we cut to everyone bedding down for the night?
I don't think so.
Okay, can everyone describe to me like how they want to be bedding down for the night? Zafril retires to the mobile home, and how about the rest of y'all?
In the cave covered in roots.
Yeah, you're doing your
Yeah, as a
stealth
bear.
thing.
Yeah, I'm a bear covered in roots in a cave, in a small little hole, like a bear-sized hole.
Yeah. It's now bear-sized. It needs to fit the narrative.
I agree.
Engless, are you going to be sleeping in your wagon, or are you going to be in some sort of like tree setup like you were the other night?
Oh, we are. Both me and I'm gonna have
Jeffrey.
Yeah, thank you. I'm gonna have Jeffrey. He's gonna come around in front of me, and I'm like standing there, arms folded, as he wraps some webs around my torso and then climbs up the tree and starts hoisting me up to the top as he builds this quick spider web where we can lay inside of, waiting to just spring and attack in case we need to.
Fantastic.
Have we even
You can
seen
come in.
Jeffrey fight yet?
Yeah, we've seen him fight a couple times.
I haven't seen him fight at all.
There's been a couple fights.
I'm excited to watch Jeffrey in action. I feel like I haven't yet, but I'm excited.
So far,
It's
Endless's
coming.
style. I mean, it honestly could probably just be chalked up to it to be hard to remember you have an animal companion. But we can also say it's more Endless's style to use Jeffrey more as a espionage sort of like intimidation companion rather than like
That's fair too.
Just
That's fair too.
True.
Anyways,
And I do plan to have him fight. I do have a question though. Does Jeffrey like level up at all?
yes. I believe there's a way to look into it on D&D Beyond. I don't know off the top of my head, but there is a way. Like I think, because like essentially your animal companion, as they level up, they also get more health. Like you would, but I don't know how to configure it. You'll have to look it up on D&D Beyond.
Okay, yeah, I can do that because so far like his health has not changed that at all.
Well, he would get devastated.
Fia, Endless has a wagon that you can stay in that has sort of like a bed set up inside of it, or did you want to like have like a tent you pitched up, or what do you think?
I had a wild idea. I don't know if we can go for it, but I was thinking I could make a hammock out of the hides that Troxy has been bringing to me,
Oh, for
and
sure.
then I'm gonna use that in the little coverage she's been using and find a good spot for my hammock and sleep in that.
Well, which is coincidental because right behind where she's ritually casting the spell are 3 appropriately sized trees, perfect for a hammock.
Like right above me.
That's a perfect spot.
So yeah, you have yourself a hammock that's been crudely sewn together.
Aw.
It's not really your forte, like putting skins together, but you are able to sort of fashion something that's made from a little bit of mammoth, a lot of hairs, because that seems to be what's common around here, and a few other like wild game sorts of animals, and it's actually rather warm. You're sort of cozy, and you find yourself getting rather tired pretty quickly.
Great. Bug and
Cute
rug.
dog.
What a cute pup you have there, Bobber.
Kim's
Right.
not having a good day today. She found bees in the backyard, and her poor face.
Oh.
Oh no.
Her
Poor
like,
Lily.
she's fine now. Like the swelling has pretty much gone away, but like this entire side of her face was like a balloon.
Oh.
Poor baby.
And I got home from work, and her face was all swollen, and she just kept looking at me like, "Dad, the bees were mean to me."
Oh, poor puppy. Raiden, what about you? How you bedding down for the night?
Raiden is by the trees. The horse. He's using the horse as a pillow. Like, you know how horses lay down to sleep? If they
Sure.
do that, I assume they do.
Sure.
Uh, he's kind of like laying on it, but not, putting his whole weight on it.
Yeah, it supports your full weight regardless.
Okay.
And you're able to sort of like snuggle up next to your magic dark horse.
I love it. Trying to think of a name.
Yeah, dude, something fitting.
Maleficent.
Hey, that's not bad.
Not bad.
Or
Not
Mally,
bad.
Mally for short.
Magus.
Mally.
Magus, she means sorcerer, but
Bobbert, can you play something a little spoopy for us? Or Evan, whoever's faster?
Giza. Maybe Giza.
it's a good word.
Giza is a cool name.
Yeah.
It's the name apparently given to dark horses.
Oh, and Gilgamesh is totally passed out underneath Thea.
Yeah, actually, Fia, you're able to sort of, but your hand was like hanging outside of the hammock, and you were about to fall asleep before you feel. You like look down, and your hand is just covered in a really gross amount of slobber, like an inappropriate amount of slobber. And you sort of like slick it off of your hand, and you just sort of like, and you sort of scritch him on the head, and he sort of is into it, and then he plops down on his back, and you can barely reach his belly, and he just like loves it, and he just falls asleep almost instantly.
I'm gonna get a picture of him right now. I'm gonna get a picture of him right now.
Yeah, I fall asleep petting him.
The fact that we were, I think, about to play about the same song.
Wow. So, as the individual members of the Fellowship tonight all see the sun completely get swallowed up by the horizon, and hours pass into the night. Some might feel they have a hard time falling asleep. Some people might have a hard time not falling asleep, as we cut to Troxy maintaining an intense amount of concentration on the spell she's casting.
Yeah.
Endless, you feel something nice and warm in your stomach area, and your instinctual next move is just to reach over and grab the huge ass of Jeffrey and just snuggle him in closer. But as you do, your arm goes a little closer to your chest before it grabs onto a body next to you. And as you like meet your arm around, there's like a moment that passes before you realize someone is laying up in the tree with you in this little nest setup you have made. Before you have enough time to say anything,
Evelyn.
the body
I swear.
the body sort of shifts 180 to sort of meet you face to face, as you all are sort of holding each other closely. You feel a pair of stabbingly pointy fingernails sort of like crawl up your chest in like a walking sort of formation as the hand grips your shirt by the scruff and sort of pulls you in a little closer as you see the beautiful face of Evelyn once more.
Yeah, we really need to stop meeting like this.
I don't know what happened, but trust me, everything is okay.
Everything is okay. The last few times that we've met, you've tried to kill me, and I just got served a contract. And I pull it out and like poop her on the nose with it. I just got served a freaking warning from your husband who wants to turn me inside out.
I can just see Jeffrey watching them do this, just like.
You see a pure wave of panic flush through her face as she grabs the paper and sort of pushes you away from her enough for her to unroll the scroll in front of her, but enough for you to still be embracing each other as she sort of like rips it open. Oh! And she just like throws it and it just burns up into ashes. This... No, he has no idea what's going on. This is nothing. Engless, can we make a promise that this isn't going to get in between us? I just don't think he would understand if he actually found out, which I don't think he does, because my suspicions tell me so, Endy Poo.
Listen, Evelyn.
Yes, and she like rolls into your chest.
There can't be an us. And it's not you. It's me.
Don't you dare, Endy Poo. Don't
Jeffrey.
you dare finish that sentence, Endy Poo. And her voice kind of lowers a little bit.
How can this be so ominous but cute at the same time?
I'm just gonna draw like them having us talk with this Jeffrey with like popcorn. Just
Each leg is taken in popcorn.
like Jeffrey's watching this at like front row seats.
Listen, I have an idea. Look at me, Engless. And she looks at you dead in the eyes.
Kinda hard not to.
You feel it, right? You feel this thing between us, don't you?
I believe the word for it is called anxiety.
No. And she grabs her hand and puts it on her chest, and you can feel her heartbeat, but it doesn't beat that like that of a human. It beats in a different syncopation. It throws you off.
It's doing blast beats.
And it's love, Engless. And I'm not gonna let anything get in the way of that. Even my dread awful husband. He's so mean to me. Here, I'll give you this, and I promise it won't try to peel your skin off. And she just kind of bashfully giggles and gives you a necklace. On the necklace, it looks like it's made of like nickel or lead. It seems to be pretty like thick. It's probably about 1/4 of an inch thick and about as big as a quarter. And in the middle of it is imprinted the demonic symbol that you've seen often with like a lot of her spell casting and runes that she's used in front of you. This, my love, will protect you. This will make it so he can't see us when I come to visit. All you have to do is wear it. But if you put it on, you mustn't take it off, for he will know. You have to. It's the only way we can be together.
Engless is holding it, and he looks at it. And he looks back at Evelyn. And he looks up at Jeffrey.
Jeffrey looks back at Evelyn.
Engless looks back at Evelyn, and he goes, well, maybe you're right. And he's about to put over his neck when he goes, psych, and flips backwards out of the web. I want to, like, do a backflip, land superhero landing, and then I shout for Raiden and Zaf.
Right as you look up and begin to shout, she just looks at you. Oof, Andy Poo, you're so unfair. And she just disappears in a puff of flame and smoke as you. She's gone.
Oh gods.
You watch as the Jeffrey sort of like comes down, like from his spindle on his web, and you see on one of his mandibles or whatever the fuck you call it, the necklace hanging from it. He seems to have caught the necklace that you threw off as you ejected out of the situation.
The necklace from Jeffrey, and reach back into one of my bags and find just like an empty jar or bottle, garbage bottle, and just slide it into it, cork it, and put
Oddly
it in my
enough,
bag.
the moment you drop the jewelry into the jar, it doesn't cling or clang or anything. It doesn't make any sound. It doesn't even sound like you put anything in the jar as you put the lid on it.
Tuck it away in my bag and just make a mental note of like, this needs to be discussed ASAP, and tell Jeffrey to hoist me back up, and I'm kind of like uppies.
And you just see out of frame shot of Webb just shoot from inside the tree, grab you on the chest, and pull you up like someone dying in a horror movie, but you're just going to bed.
You know what would have been funny if we still had our goblin and he like kind of like pickpocketed the necklace. He's like, oh, look at this, and just puts it on himself. And then Evelyn comes back and is like, where's the necklace, boo boo? And then Goblin goes, oh, this one, and she goes, yeah.
So, Engless, as you try to readjust and get comfortable, you can see like a portion of the nest had been burnt away from Evelyn's departure. But after sort of reconfiguring the space, getting it comfy enough to at least fall asleep, you can see through the tree the moon now being exposed, which was covered by a large cloud until now. Beautiful. It's nearly full. And you can feel like even someone not who has studied the arcane or is innately magical himself can feel an aura in the air. And it gets added to because you can slowly hear the dome that you are resting next to growing. They can hear twigs and branches breaking and being manipulated as they just sort of like snakes and worms dig their way through the earth. And I think that's where I want to leave it off for tonight. We'll pick up next time. To see...
I'm so sorry. Can you repeat that real quick?
Oh, I was just describing to Engless that the moon that he looked up at is nearly full, and even someone like him who isn't like an arcane user primarily can feel a certain like aura in the air, and it's distinct from any other full moon y'all have experienced, and it sort of the growing plant life and material in the dome adds to this sensation of something big is going to happen, and Endless, you worry, or if not at the very least wonder to yourself, is the fellowship going to be enough?
Oof. Oof.
And yeah, I think that's where I want to leave it off for tonight.
I love it.
If we're gonna be enough to stop her,
Yeah.
Evelyn. Yeah.
Oh no,
that's what
not Evelyn. I mean just the situation at large.
I mean, yeah, true. I wonder how hard this fight will be, but I definitely wonder if we could even stop Evelyn.
Dude,
We've done it before.
Bobber,
We haven't fought her true form.
Bobber, I had that idea like almost a month ago, and I've been waiting so long just to drop that on you, and dude, I'm so excited that now it's real. How does it feel to be having this weird sort of thing with the Queen of Hell?
Like, honestly,
yeah.
honestly, it's really cool. Like, totally dig it, and there's still a part of me that really hopes that maybe something will work out. She'd be a good companion to have, you know, like a good.
Oh my god.
friend
She's
to
the
have on
queen
your
of
side.
hell. She's probably just fucking doing this on a whim sadistically. She's just like, hey, fuck it, I'm just gonna mess with my husband so we can have crazy angry makeup sex. So I'm gonna fuck around with this mortal to make him angry.
Yeah.
That's like all I can see happening here.
But
And
dude,
Engless is like, well, maybe she's in love.
Maybe it's love. Like, hey, come on, guys. Maybe it's love. No, she's a devil. She's probably just doing this for fun.
Watch her like fuck him, and then make a contract with his soul, and then be like, "That's it. That's all I wanted," and just walks off. He's like, "What?"
Yeah, or take his soul.
You know, right?
Like, she could be a succubus. Take his life and soul, and just be like, all right, peace.
And then he's like, and then he's always wondering, is she ever gonna just take my soul? Like when?
Bobber,
Like-
words, please. I want to hear.
Like I said, a part of like English really took Raiden's words to heart, which is why like he got away from her as quickly as he could. But there is still that part that's just like there's something about Evelyn that not only draws English but draws me too. And I don't know what it is. I'm just like how cool would it be to like turn her like good or neutral even?
True.
And like I'm freaking boy toy of the Queen of the Underworld. I mean, how badass would that be?
I just, again, you're a mortal trying to seduce the wife of a god.
I'm a half elf.
She might as well be a demigod herself. Like, that's not an easy feat.
Dude,
You're right. It is not an easy feat, and like from the very first time that I met Evelyn, like I got on forums and D&D Beyond, and I was doing research. I'm like, there's got to be like a spell or a potion or a fucking god I can pray to give me the power to like get her to fall madly in love with me to the point where like she's gonna do whatever I want her
Sure,
to do.
yeah.
Like,
The
has been an
god's name is
ongoing-
Asmodeus.
This has been an ongoing thing. Like
Dude,
I'm
my favorite part about this was, like, it's all been kind of, like, it's funny to play it out, but it's also kind of the running joke that Endless is this sort of reckless lover type or whatever, and it's always been this scary sort of like knife edge situation with this devil. But not only is she a devil, she's also just the Queen of Hell, and because of course the demon, the devil that Endless decides to have a crush on is that very said devil, and also like whatever sliver that Bobbert and Endless is catching on to is the sliver that I also am presenting, and that's why it works so well.
Oh my god. You know, if Saffron was still in this party, English's ass would have been
Oh,
beaten.
dude, Saffron would not be pleased.
Gosh. She's like, what?
Hello?
You what?
My mic, my whole
sorry,
PC
what?
just froze. What happened?
Oh, we
Just
just talking about if Saffron was still here, how like she would have beaten Engless's ass.
Oh, I'm like doing it for her. I'm like, anytime he says this could turn out good, just wham!
Could you
You know,
imagine,
like-
like, years later, English shows up at Saffron's door, just knocks on it, and she's like, English, and gives him a hug, and he's like, oh, I want to introduce you to my wife. You remember Evelyn, right?
She would attack on fucking sight. You have no fucking idea.
Not only would you have to kill a god that would be trying to kill you by trying to take his wife, you'd also have to convince the wife of a god to become your wife. That's like some level 30 plus shit. Like,
What if, like,
I
low-key,
just- Saffron-
I'm doing him a favor? What if he's like, I am sick of this bitch, like, get her out of my hair, and I'm like, yo, don't worry, I'll take care. I'll treat her like the queen she's meant to be.
Yeah, slam dunk, dog.
Dude, Saffron would just close her door on you so fast. She'd be like,
yeah.
nope, I'm not dealing with this. Nope, that's basically what. Yep.
Also, I will say bonus points for when Raiden. I don't remember how you said it, so I'm gonna butcher it. But it was when you were calling him. Raiden was calling Engless out about like his motivation, or what was it that what were you saying? It was like right before Zafriel lost his cool. Okay, maybe not.
No, it was right after he was shaking him with his finger.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I said, was it the part about our lives?
Yes.
And that was good.
Yeah.
I said, I said, you're so rash to jump into decisions. Do you even consider our lives to be as much worth as yours? Something like that.
Yeah, man. And I think that what you presented to him in that moment hasn't necessarily shown up in that same exact way, but that's sort of like that's a pattern I've noticed as a DM observing Endless at play, and it's interesting to see. Like I just wonder like what kind of growth Endless will come out of that, and if any at all, you know, or maybe he's gonna grow horizontally.
I am eager to see that as well, because actually I was kind of waiting to see if any of that would show its face during the Evelyn thing, and it did. That's why I was wondering if if Raiden is awake, he would not even move. He would just smile and go back to sleep.
Does you know now?
he's like, all right, he's changing a little.
Sure.
Because the point I was trying to make was like, is our lives as worthless as yours if you're so eager to throw yours away?
Damn. That cuts deep.
Yeah, man. And like, you can only get to those sort of powerful statements when you've been playing together as a party for a minute. You know what I mean? So we're really getting into the fucking meat and potatoes, dude. And I can't wait till I fucking get to run another game.
I know. I can't wait. Also, you can tell we know each other's characters so well when Fia knew the next damn thing he was gonna say was his damn spider. She knew what the antics were gonna be. She was like, oh, yep, I knew it.
Yeah. I wish we could play tomorrow and then like Monday. I wish like I hope, like we're all like in the same retirement home and we're just like
yeah.
every day.
What's up, Hellfire Club? Come on, we got a session.
Yes, dude, for fucking sure, dude.
Ready.
Well, my brain is fried, and me and Riley are going to continue watching the newest season of Umbrella Academy tonight. So I'm going to peace out for tonight, y'all. Tonight was super fun, and I'm glad we got to level up, because that's fucking badass.
Hell yeah, I got that new plant growth spell, which
Dude, I literally, when I initially decided in my head that the spell wasn't going to work how you intended it to, and it was just going to grow around the barrier because magic, I didn't realize at the time that like also is a very effective use of the spell. You know?
I was like, oh, this works too. Oh lord, dude, I'm glad. I'm trying to slowly turn Raiden more toward the lichdom kind of idea since he's already immortal-ish. So I was like,
Sure.
I'm gonna pick up necromancy skills like revivify.
Smart. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
All right, you guys have a great
Yeah.
night.
See you
Yeah,
later,
you
See you
too.
guys.
You too. Bye.
Night.
Bye.